Close to Hikaru Street. The old woman whispered to the other, "TCH, why did the Hokage not lock up that brat? Why did the higher-ups let him out?" said another scornfully. "Put some salt around our shop to ward away the bad luck. The brat passed our shop by." Naruto was a blonde boy with blue eyes who was openly mocked by everyone. That day was his 5th birthday, and he had always wondered why everyone was staring at him with such hatred. He had only recently turned 5, so to the best of his knowledge, he had done nothing to deserve such hatred. The words and glares that were being exchanged were more hurtful than Naruto had ever encountered, and he was unable to handle them all. He had fled because he couldn't handle the hostility and pressure that were directed at him. He was removed from the orphanage and given an apartment so he could live in a safer setting. When word leaked out about what had happened with the 9 tails, Naruto was only 4 years old. Naruto's carefree life had taken a turn for the worse after that. He had lost every friend he had made, and every time he went near another kid, their parents warned them to avoid Naruto. "Why do they give me that look?" Naruto thought to himself, shedding a few tears. Naruto has always had an acute sense of hearing, and as he grew older, it only improved. He could hear every hurtful remark made about him. He simply could not handle it. Naruto had been running for some time when he got lost and ended up somewhere he had never been. In honor of the late Yanem Hokage, he had spotted a tiny structure called the Minato Namikaze Library. It was built in his honor and contained a vast amount of unclassified data about his time as Hokage. It also contained a large number of other books that had nothing to do with his rule or his adventures, such as the fundamentals of Konoha history. It was open to the public, just like any other public library. When Naruto noticed that it was becoming cloudy, he entered the library. Naruto thought, "I guess I'll have to wait out the rain." This is a library, Naruto thought. "Minato Namikaze." Naruto exclaimed, curious as to why the name of the late Hokage was engraved at the library's entrance. In order to avoid being expelled, Naruto made the decision to enter covertly. One of his few outfits was what he was wearing, and he didn't want it to get wet. Naruto thought, thank God he didn't see me. He'd slipped out of the librarian's sight. The elderly man was either a civilian or a retired ninja because he lacked a ninja headband. Since nothing in this library was classified, it wasn't particularly well guarded, as demonstrated by Naruto's easy escape from the genin and the librarian's supervision. What should I do now, As he browsed the enormous bookshelves in search of something that might catch his attention, Naruto thought. He had seen Tailed Beasts, the Immortal Beings of Destruction, and found it to be a striking sight. This book appears to contradict Naruto's knowledge that the 4th Hokage killed the 9-tailed beast. It intrigued him because he knows they won't simply put a book full of false information in a library created in honor of a Hokage. He began reading the book after picking it up. Overview. The creatures with tails are composed entirely of chakra. Since they will simply reform within 2 or 3 years even if they die, they are currently impossible to kill. A Senju who killed the 4 tails in a battle hundreds of years ago was the one who put this theory to the test. The 4-tailed beast only reformed about 3 years after it was vanquished, so his efforts were in vain. Wait, doesn't that imply that the 9 tails are still alive if they simply reform? 5 years have passed since its defeat. Naruto thought in a slightly panicked manner. In a few chapters, Naruto learned the fundamental skills of every tailed beast. At least the ones that were known to exist. Jinchuriki, the major villages had developed Jinchuriki since the first ninja war. To avoid being attacked, they had a tailed beast sealed inside of them that could serve as a weapon or a deterrent. The public would probably mock them and treat them like a ticking time bomb if they were known to be Jinchuriki. Therefore, if a spy were to monitor the village for a few days, it would be simple to determine who is a Jinchuriki. Naruto thought, the situation described here is very similar to mine. The 4th Mizukage, Yagura, Roshi of Iwa, Hans of Iwa, and Killer Bee of Kumo are a few of the well-known Jinchuriki. Due to their familial or personal relationships with the village's kage, they were all devoted to the community. Naruto looked at the ceiling and thought, phew, I am not related to the Hokages in any way, though the old man third does come around sometimes, but never really did much to me, so I am in the clear. After checking to make sure he was in the clear, he noticed the portrait of the 4th Hokage. Naruto's stomach dropped when he saw the portrait. He resembled the Yanem, save for the 3 whisker marks on each cheek. They say that a child always looks like their parents or grandparents. Naruto had just raised his hopes before letting them fall off a cliff. He had read about the fundamentals of genes in a book he was able to scrounge when he was younger, and he had read that the offspring will look a lot like their parents, with a few small changes that may exist, but they are mostly the result of slight mutations. Naruto thought dejectedly, I should have realized why they all hated me. Naruto couldn't care less and sneaked out of the library to run in the pouring rain because he had some things to think about. The apartment of Naruto, at the moment, Naruto was soaked, having stripped off his clothes and hung them on the drying wire. Naruto thought angrily, but why would he choose me? His own son? Did I mean nothing to him? He had sobbed himself to sleep that night, December 12, 1503 AD. Hello, Naruto, said an elderly man, the third Hokage, who was slightly tanned and wore a cloak with the Hokage kanji stitched into it. Hi, Gramps, Naruto said hello. Since only an Uzumaki could have the nine-tailed beast sealed into them, Minato had no choice but to do his research on his father, learn about his mother, and discover why he was the most suitable candidate to be the Jinchuriki. This winter, how are you doing? I haven't been able to see you in a long time because I've been very busy at work, Hiruzen said. Well, it's quite chilly. Oh, may I have some Ichiraku's ramen? It's been a long time since I visited. Naruto grinned sadly and remarked, I really don't have much money to go there often. All right, Naruto, let me take you to Ichiraku's. Hiruzen laughed and said, you can eat as much ramen as you like. I'm grateful, old man, with excitement, Naruto yelled. At Ichiraku's, good evening, Lord Hokage, Naruto, smiled Tucci, the manager of the ramen stand. Elderly man. 3 bowls of miso ramen with extra pork, please, Naruto shouted. Get me a bowl of pork ramen, Hiruzen commanded. What are your plans for the academy, Naruto? Hiruzen said, your first class is in April. I dunno, Naruto answered. You should start reading up on your academy's curriculum now. This way, you can be ahead of your peers and be a strong ninja, Hiruzen suggested. If I get strong, will I be the Hokage? Naruto asked, his eyes wide with anticipation. You'll need to be intelligent in addition to strong. Hiruzen smiled and said, my intelligence on the battlefield has saved me more than my strength ever has. All right. With excitement, Naruto yelled. Is it possible for me to obtain some training scrolls? Naruto used his puppy eye jutsu to ask, please, Gramps, I don't want to play catch up with them because I heard all the clan kids get training from a young age. Okay, Naruto, I will give you some of the basics which you will require to be a ninja, Hiruzen conceded, unable to resist. Gramps, thank you. Naruto exclaimed joyfully. All right, Naruto, it's getting late for me. Hiruzen stood up and said, meet me in the tower at about 3. I'll get you some of the scrolls you might need. Hiruzen said, oh, Tucci, let him have as much as he wants, put it on my tab, please, and walked away. August 3, 1506 AD, I sense. The Uchiha clan. Naruto thought in horror as he sensed 6 individuals there, 2 of whom were Uchihas themselves, and their chakra signatures were falling like flies. Gritting his teeth, Naruto thought, shit, I didn't think this would ever happen. This must be Danzo, but this is far for even him. He was practicing his chakra control close to the Uchiha district when he felt this. Naruto ran at full speed in an attempt to block Itachi's path, thinking, one of them is coming near here. His chakra signature seems close to Sasuke's, it must be Itachi. You put us under a genjutsu because you never trusted us, since we first met, after being stabbed by another Anbu, who was stabbed by him, an Anbu wearing a mask asked in horror. 3 kunai touched down close to Itachi. Itachi, where do you think you're heading? Naruto appeared and asked. Itachi, who had sensed Naruto when the 2 Foundation Anbu attempted to kill him, didn't appear surprised. Naruto-kun, why are you here at this time? Itachi asked straight-facedly. I was just training, until I sensed the entire Uchiha clan was being killed off by you and 5 others, said Naruto. 5 more? For a brief moment, Itachi's stoic exterior cracked. Yes. Although I don't know much about the other 2, the 9 tails appeared somewhat disturbed when I sensed the other man, so I believe that 4 of them were Danzo's men, Naruto disclosed. Naruto, let's go somewhere quiet. I have to go to the Hokage and tell him what happened, so let's get this done quickly, Itachi said as he headed for an Anbu base. Naruto said, you should not tell anything about me to the Hokage or anyone else, for the matter of fact, as he ran beside him. So you are aware of the 9 tails? Madara Uchiha, the man from earlier times, is the other man. When you were born, he was in charge of the 9 tails, Itachi disclosed. I had a suspicion. Naruto's response, my father did manage to write a few words for me before he died, startled Itachi a little, but he later rehearsed his facial expressions. Itachi said, Naruto, Please take care of Sasuke for me. I will, but I need to be up to date with whatever you and that Madara are doing, Naruto said in an attempt to reach an agreement. All right, Naruto. I'll update you. Oh, and here, Itachi uttered, calling forth a crow. Itachi touched its eye with his palm. When you are placed beneath Koto Amatsukami, I have programmed this eye to react. Danzo has Shisui's Mangekyo Sharingan, who is my closest friend. You won't even be aware that you are in a genjutsu because of its strength. Itachi warned, you must always have it within you because if you were placed under it, the crow will break you free from the genjutsu. The crow rushed into Naruto's mouth and sealed itself inside Naruto's stomach. Naruto's expression was disgusted. Ah, Naruto uttered. That's it for now. People may become suspicious. Itachi accelerated, saying, you should go now. Naruto turned around and headed toward his apartment. Naruto dozed off while thinking about what to do. He is aware that Hiruzen was powerless to stop this incident. All he could do was postpone the date and postpone the inevitable, while Danzo simply exploited the circumstance, making the most of it by destroying the Uchiha clan. The following day, in the academy, for the next 2 days, there won't be any classes. Only a small number of people currently know what happened to the Uchiha clan, the academy's headmaster declared. The children were happy, while the majority of parents left with bewildered expressions on their faces. I have to go check on Sasuke to make sure he doesn't get into trouble. 7:30 p.m. at the hospital in Konoha. Naruto showed up in a shunshin, knowing that only the hospital staff would be present because visiting hours had ended a few hours earlier. Yo, Naruto said. When Naruto unexpectedly showed up in Sasuke's room, his eyes grew wide. Loser, what are you doing here? Sasuke spat. I'm here to see how you're doing. Tomorrow, the majority of the village will be aware of what transpired, Naruto retorted. Sasuke balled his fists. You know, I know of a way you can get revenge, but of course, you will need to do a few things for me, said Naruto. What are your options? The last person to die is you, Sasuke yelled. Oh my god. At the start of the year, who was the first student in our class? It was me, Naruto answered. That was back then. Now you are the weakest of our class, Sasuke glared in response. Have you ever noticed how I was treated in those days? The teachers dismissed me for disturbing the class without even looking at me. I could go on forever, receiving punishment for minor infractions like whispering to the person next to me, Naruto retorted. Sasuke hesitated. I will tell you why they did that later, when you earn my trust and respect, Sasuke, Naruto said. What are you hoping to get from me? Why me, too? Sasuke, who was still experiencing emotional instability as a result of last night's events, asked, tears streaming from his eyes. Well, I'm not sure how to respond to the first question, but regarding the second, I think you are the only person who can challenge me for power in the future, and I need someone like you by my side. Destroying the shinobi system is my aim for this world. Children like us are sent to fight in this system. How many ninjas under the age of 13 lost their lives in the most recent conflict? More than 400 from just our village? Naruto answered. And I want to put an end to it all. Put an end to producing ninjas like Itachi, who are exhausted and driven insane by this system. After I take over as Hokage and eradicate all corruption in this village, we will conquer every other village and disarm the majority of their armed forces. In this manner, there would be fewer ninjas to stir up trouble, wars would be much smaller, and fewer people would lose their lives in ninja battles, Naruto remarked passionately. So, will you accompany me, Sasuke? Naruto said as he approached Sasuke and extended his hand to shake hands. Because of his vulnerability and susceptibility to manipulation, Sasuke was lured to join Naruto because he believed that having the only Uchiha on his side would greatly advance his goal of a better world. Naruto took full advantage of this. All right, we'll begin at the Uchiha training grounds tomorrow afternoon. With a body flicker, Naruto whispered, I will make sure no one will know of us. Hyuga compound, Hiyashi, during the clan mission, we lost a good number of members. We won't be able to regain our numbers for a while. The daimyo must provide us with some restitution for this loss. They are unaware of the mission's parameters, an elderly Hyuga said in a harsh tone. Hiyashi did not recoil in response to his father's cruel remarks. Yes, I have brought it up with the daimyo. We will start with our negotiation tomorrow under the Hokage's supervision, it said. The meeting's Hyuga elders nodded in agreement with Hiyashi's remarks. This is a delicate situation involving two of the most powerful families in the Land of Fire. If anything goes wrong, both families would suffer greatly. Let's discuss something else now. How should we handle Hanabi and Hinata? An older person asked a question. We are unable to seal them. As the clan's heir, Hinata is succeeding, and Hanabi is too. He is developing quickly and learning the gentle fist more quickly than Hinata. However, one of the new advisors said, I think it would be a waste to seal either of them. There are advantages to Ranmaro-san's perspective. Hanabi should be prepared to assume responsibility if something were to happen to Hinata, Hirano said. What if Hanabi turned out to be a more suitable candidate to be the clan's heir, so what should we do? Ranmaro inquired. I wouldn't mind her taking over as the next clan head if she were a better fit. However, we won't know what to do with them in either scenario. If one takes the lead, what will happen to the other? One of the counselors inquired. The Matsumoto family's head has a son a year older than Hinata. He would be a good suitor, I believe, said Ranmaro. We'll discuss this issue later. We still have many years to go, so this problem won't impact us for a while. Hiyashi dismissed them before they could delve too far into the subject, saying, I have other matters to take care of. When everyone had gone, Hiyashi sighed, unsure of what to do with his two daughters, some of whom had already pushed for the search for suitors, which is crucial for forging alliances with other clans and influential families. Hiyashi muttered angrily, gosh, they are really annoying. From Hinata's perspective, am I just a spare for them? Hinata thought bitterly. Because the distance was too great for a 7-year-old Byakugan to see, no one would suspect that she had used her Byakugan to spy on the meeting. However, she was unique in that she could see quite far, but she concealed it so she could use it to spy on others without raising any red flags. She frowned slightly as she made her way to her bedroom. It's already 7:30. I have to finish my homework quickly and head to bed, she thought. She went into her room, opened her cupboard, and locked the door. She leaned down to pick up a picture of a younger Naruto that had slipped out of there, and she looked at it with a slight smile. What would you do, Naruto? She asked herself. February 10, 1510-1623. The place was bleak. The only mountains in the area were bare and rugged. The winds were dry and devoid of moisture and life. A number of crows were circling the area. One of the 3 crows surrounding him was being rolled up with scrolls by a man wearing a black cloak patterned with red clouds. He repeated the action with the other 2 crows and sent them off. What are you doing, Itachi? A man with shark-like teeth and blue skin inquired. The person who asked was an S-ranked missing ninja named Kisame Hoshigaki, one of the 7 swordsmen of the village concealed in the mist, and he was speaking to Itachi Uchiha, the kin slayer. I sent a few of my crows to scout the location we are headed towards, Itachi responded. Konoha, February 11, 4:55 a.m. Fire style. The breath of a dragon. Large volumes of fire erupted from Sasuke's mouth as he yelled. Wood fashion. Jutsu wooden dome. With a shout, Naruto slammed his palms down, forming a wooden dome. Sasuke's eyes went wide, and he leapt just before Naruto leapt from where he was standing. Naruto halted his slash in the middle of his leap. There were several bomb tags, poised to detonate, right where he stood. Sasuke swung his katana in Naruto's direction. Naruto blew up. TCH. Exploding clone jutsu? Sasuke thought in dismay. He was pushed back quite a bit. Naruto said, you lose, and he put a kunai around Sasuke's neck. TCH. After being thrashed by Naruto, Sasuke stood up. He was able to close the distance between himself and Naruto by a good amount, but Naruto still had a long way to go. We should prepare for the academy, which will begin in 2 hours. Sasuke gave Naruto a stern look when he said, oh, and don't forget, today's dinner is on you. Naruto grinned and they headed to Sasuke's apartment. After all, a bet is a bet, he said. Sometimes Naruto stays over at Sasuke's place, and other times Sasuke stays over at Naruto's, which relieves their loneliness. Having a caring person close by is very beneficial to one's mental well-being. 7:58 a.m. In order to avoid raising any red flags, Naruto entered the room after a few minutes and took a seat behind Shoji and Shikamaru at the end of the classroom, while Sasuke calmly sat by the window. The bell soon rang, announcing the start of the classes. Iruka said, good morning, class, as she glanced around to see who was there and who wasn't. Mizuki is absent due to a mission, so I will be taking over his class today, Iruka said. Some of them became interested in Mizuki's whereabouts, but they never asked because it was part of a mission. All right, we'll be studying vector algebra today. Take out your notes so we can go over what I taught you yesterday again. Ixj equals k. Iruka continued, summarizing what he had taught. Naruto and Shikamaru fell asleep halfway through, both of whom were already well versed in the subject. Shikamaru simply didn't give a damn about the academy, while Naruto slept to maintain his facade. The majority of students did the same, nodding off due to extreme boredom. 11:14 a.m. Iruka had twitchy eyes. Brats! Get up now! When he yelled, everyone fell asleep, and those who were awake burst out laughing. Tongue! Goodbye, sensei! Naruto yelled as he hurried off to lunch. Others soon did the same, heading out for lunch. Angrily, Iruka thought, these brats are going to be my downfall. Naruto's perspective, as Naruto headed to a training area close to the academy, he thought, today's lunch is going to be good. He scanned his surroundings to make sure no one was nearby before moving his body a short distance to a remote area of the training ground so he could eat in peace. Naruto called forth 2 clones while brandishing a one-handed ram seal. Now, let's talk about whether or not it would be wise to tell the elderly man what I am doing, and if so, what we should say, said the main Naruto. From Sasuke's perspective, Sasuke, who had been followed by his fangirls since break began, thought, gosh, it took a while to get away from them, with relief and annoyance. I should start my training right away and eat quickly so that I can master the stage 1 training of fire nature. From Hinata's perspective, hey, Hinata, how about we grab lunch together? A boy at random inquired. No thanks, she said icily. Why would she hang out with a loser like you, TCH? I am an alpha, and she wants to be with me, Kiba remarked haughtily and somewhat angrily. She said, I am sorry, Kiba-san, my clan would not like for me to be in a relationship with anyone before leaving to have lunch somewhere else. Kiba simply scowled at her icy response. Some of the girls whispered to one another, TCH, look at her, acting all high and mighty just because she is a Hyuga. 12 p.m. Looks like they sent clones of themselves here again, she thought, discreetly using her Byakugan. After lunch, which is usually theory-based classes, Naruto and Sasuke had switched themselves with their clones. However, because Mizuki was not present, the entire day had been transformed into a math and strategy class that would bore anyone to death. Iruka said, all right, now we will review the lesson. Second Great Ninja War, since we have an exam about it tomorrow. That war just happens to be one of the most dull wars ever. Only a few topics, like the Sennin, are interesting. The rest are details that were simply too troublesome to remember because a lot of the information is pretty irrelevant for field duties. The majority of the students moaned at that. Training grounds in Namikaze, gosh, that place is unbearable, Naruto grumbled. Most of the stuff they teach is mostly useful for civilian jobs, Sasuke said frowningly. Naruto said, yup, well, let's stop complaining and start with our training, as he began his war preparations. Soon after, Sasuke did the same. Hey, Sasuke, I'm going to share our training with the old man. In order to have his assistance when we need it, I will only tell him a few things, Naruto said. Well, how much are you going to divulge? Sasuke inquired. Well, to him, we will be as strong as the village's elite Chunin, but our actual strengths will be concealed. He answered, I will be telling about myself, knowing who my parents are, and about the 9 tails. Sasuke gave a nod. At 5 p.m., Ka. Knowing what it meant, Naruto glanced up at the crow circling overhead. The crow landed on his shoulder, and after giving it several pats on the head and removing a scroll from its leg, it leapt off and took off. With a quick body flicker, Naruto disappeared, leaving no trace. In Naruto's apartment, well, I guess this is what they're doing. Naruto told himself, looks like I need to prepare myself for what's coming, as he changed into his new clothes. At the Tower of Hokage, Naruto said, Yo, I am here to meet the Hokage, to the secretary of the Hokage. He is currently busy, she answered. When is he going to be free? Naruto inquired. Well, in a short while, she answered, he's in a meeting right now. As he waited for the Hokage to arrive, Naruto took a seat. What are you doing here, Naruto? Curious, the Hokage inquired. The Hokage and Naruto entered the office. Well, there's something I need your assistance with. However, only you can hear it, Naruto remarked. Well, Naruto, we are by ourselves. You can share your concerns with me, Hiruzen said. Are the 4 other individuals with us your Anbu bodyguards? Naruto inquired. Hiruzen's gaze grew wide. Send them out, please. Naruto went on, I don't want more people to hear us. Hiruzen dismissed the Anbu with a wave. What would you like to discuss? With a serious tone, Hiruzen inquired. Please seal of the office, I don't want the root of the village listening, said Naruto. Hiruzen closed off the office with a hand sign. Do you want to say it, or do I have to tell it to you? Naruto asked, looking at Minato's photo without blinking. Hiruzen's expression changed from bewilderment to disbelief. Naruto said, that's right, I knew who my parents are, ending the quiet. I learned what transpired on the evening of my birth. My father had a clone write a brief account of the events of that time. All of the midwives and guards had been slain by a masked Uchiha using the Mangekyo Sharingan. That evening, he took control of my mother's 9 tails. My father believes it's someone from outside the village. Naruto remarked, he believes that individual may have been Madara Uchiha. Madara? Hiruzen inquired. Yes, Naruto answered. I did suspect that someone was behind the attack, you just confirmed my suspicions, replied Hiruzen. So, how did you arrive at that conclusion? Naruto inquired. I am Naruto, the Hokage. My sources are with me, Hiruzen said slyly. Oh, was that Itachi? With a straight face, Naruto asked. Hiruzen's horrified eyes grew wide. I can tell by the expression on your face. You must therefore have learned some sensitive details about the current situation. I need your assistance. Naruto went on. I need you to keep your friend's eyes off me. Hiruzen's expression darkened. Naruto, you might already know, but you should not tell anything about Itachi, especially to Sasuke, Hiruzen stated. That was ensured by Itachi. Naruto retorted, he put me under a genjutsu so I couldn't tell Sasuke. Oh, and as for your request, I will make sure no one will spy on you, Hiruzen said. Thanks, old man, Naruto grinned in response. I also need your assistance with the Hiraishin, old man. Naruto remarked, I don't know where the jutsu notes are. My father probably took them with him to the grave or has them hidden somewhere really secret. I don't know where Minato had his notes for the Hiraishin, but I do have Tobirama-sensei's notes, which Minato used to master the jutsu and even make it better, Hiruzen responded. That will work, Naruto said with a nod. How far along are you with your Fuinjutsu? Hiruzen inquired. I have made my own seals, which are just better to use than the standard ones, but it is hard to produce in mass for other ninjas, replied Naruto. Well, using the Hiraishin requires a high level of physics knowledge as well as the ability to use sophisticated space-time matrices. Minato needed 5 years to fully comprehend and become proficient in it. Additionally, it took Tobirama-sensei 10 years to master the jutsu, Hiruzen remarked. That's awfully a long time, Naruto remarked, his expression deadpan. Yes, doing so also takes a significant amount of chakra. Hiruzen smirked and remarked. Minato taught his bodyguards how to use it, but they could only teleport using the most basic version, and that, too, requires all 3 of them to use it together because the chakra and control required for it are extremely high. Naruto answered, no wonder only 2 people ever used the jutsu. It's time for dinner, Naruto. Do you want to have lunch with me? Hiruzen stood up and asked. Sure, Naruto answered. All right, now tell me how strong you are. February 15th 12 p.m. Naruto said impatiently, gosh, what is taking him so long? I apologize for taking so long to leave the fangirls, Sasuke said as he walked into the clearing. Let's get started now. The bandit camp is quite deep into the forests, well away from the village. It will take a few hours to travel, so we should take off our weight seals. HN. They both executed a one-handed ram seal and began sprinting at full speed in the direction of a hidden exit. 4:30 p.m. Bored, Sasuke asked, are we there yet? I can sense them now, only a few more minutes away from us, said Naruto. To devise a plan, they landed a few kilometers from the camp. My clones have found that there are 32 bandits, of which 6 are ninjas. 5 are chunin, and 1 is a jonin. The ninjas are a mix of Kiri and Iwa ninjas. The parameters for this mission are to kill all the bandits and restrain most of the ninjas. They will hold valuable intel on their villages since they defected only recently. Sasuke gave a nod. Are there any captives? Yes, I can sense about 40 more chakra signatures. Make a few clones and charge up some of your chakra before we rush in. We must be in top shape since they are probably veterans of the last war. They would be clearly more experienced than us, said Naruto. Naruto created 10 clones, while Sasuke created 2. The camp has 10 people always on watch, with one of them being one of the chunin. You will be killing the chunin and some of the other bandits. You will cause a commotion outside after killing them, whilst I make my way inside the camp, fight the jonin and some of the chunin. You will join me after you deal with their patrol. Naruto handed out a mask and said, Also, wear this mask. It has a seal which will protect your face from any injuries to the head. It was a mask that Naruto himself wore. The mask looked like a snarling fox because it was entirely black with a few gold streaks. The design of Sasuke's mask featured a raven. Sasuke inquired, "When will we strike?" "In about 2 hours, by then it would be pretty dark. This way, we could completely disguise ourselves in the dark." 6:30 p.m. Let's get a move on. All of the bandits have returned to camp, and it looks like they have more captives, from what I can sense, Naruto said. The distance between them and the camp was now only 600 meters after they had gradually reduced it. Sasuke put his hand on the hilt of his tanto and said, "Good, they would be tired right now, we should strike when they lose their adrenaline, since that's when they would be the most off guard." Sasuke and Naruto leapt off in separate directions. From Sasuke's perspective, all right, Sasuke thought, I must kill one of the bandits first to cause confusion, then kill the Chunin, and the others will fall easily. A guard was killed by one of Sasuke's clones who crept up on him. Another guard approached and also killed him. "Huh? Renamaru, Mikausarubi, it's no time to sleep," exclaimed a guard as he kicked the two corpses. The guard became perplexed when the bodies did not even flinch. "You two? Hey, Renamaru and Makousurubi are dead," he yelled. When everyone turned to face the direction of the loud voice, Sasuke moved toward the Chunin's location. The Chunin was perplexed by the disturbance, but before he could investigate, his senses flared up and he used his kunai to block a Tanto's slash. He saw a set of red eyes when he looked down from where the slash originated. The Sharingan? But wasn't the entire Uchiha clan wiped out? He pondered. With a shout of, "Fire style! Fireball jutsu!" Sasuke leapt backward, propelled by the fireball jutsu. The renegade ninja yelled, "Earth style! Earth wall!" while making a few hand gestures and hurling a wall of mud. Sasuke charged the renegade ninja. The renegade ninja responded by making a few hand signals and putting them on the ground, which resulted in an enormous number of earth spikes. They went straight through Sasuke's abdomen and shoulders. The renegade ninja grinned. He said, "Now, those eyes will be mine," and then he removed the mask and extracted an eye. "Gah!" exclaimed the renegade ninja. He had just severed his own eye. "What? How could?" He became aware of his error. He turned to face the Sharingan. "You put me under a genjutsu when I blocked your strike," he yelled. Sasuke hurried over to the renegade ninja and slashed his hand, saying, "Tch, you were weak. I don't know why he wants someone like you alive. You would have nothing valuable on you." "Gah! Hey, Kuroda!" someone yelled. A ninja with a slashed kiri headband emerged from the camp's flickering flames. His eyes were staring straight into Sasuke's mask. The renegade kiri ninja avoided making direct eye contact by looking down. He pulled out a katana and cries, "You bastard, you will pay for this." 3 clones joined Sasuke. 2 were Naruto's and 1 was his. The clones ran around to confuse the renegade ninja as they rushed towards him. "Fire style! Dragon's breath!" exclaimed one of the clones. With a few hand signals and a tiny water jet, the renegade ninja leapt to his feet. The renegade ninja thought angrily, "Shit, there is no water near me, and this guy is a fire style user." Slashing his tanto, Sasuke leapt in the direction of the renegade ninja. Each of them shoved the other side after his blow was barely deflected. The renegade ninja muttered, "Wind style, air bullets," and hurled several air bullets at Sasuke. With the Sharingan, Sasuke could hardly avoid them. Those air bullets would be almost undetectable in the dark. Such attacks could only be detected by those with good sensors and hearing. As he demonstrated several hand signals, Sasuke exclaimed, "Lightning style, lightning fang." "Shit. There's not enough time for me to stop them. I barely jumped out of the way," the renegade ninja thought. Sasuke whispered, "Wind style, air bullets," and launched a barrage of fast-moving air bullets at the ninja. "Huh?" was the ninja's reply. He had leapt away out of instinct, but 2 of the shots hit him. He had one at his left leg and one at his shoulder. Abruptly, there was a loud boom close to the main tent. Sasuke used a lot of chakra to leap toward his opponent at high speed and sliced cleanly through his right leg, rendering him completely incapacitated as the ninja turned to face the enormous explosion. "One more down," Sasuke whispered to himself. Then, in order to assist Naruto, he hurried over to the explosion. Naruto's perspective. "Hey, Renamaru and Makousurubi are dead." It's time now, Naruto thought as he moved slowly toward the camp's main base. From the vast tent came a rough voice asking, "What happened?" One voice said, "I'll go check it out, I'm not sure." Another voice said, "This might be a diversion. I will go to Kuroda and help him watch for any enemies. I will go gather the group. They are practically mindless chickens who would make the mess bigger when no one supervises them." Interesting, huh? They're skilled at what they do, Naruto thought. 5 ninjas emerged when the tent's flaps were opened. One of them traveled to Kumoda's western post, one to the camp's southernmost area, and one to its northwest. The Jonin was left alone there as the others leapt away to hide their vulnerable areas. "Arakita Junsui," Naruto uttered in a low voice. The rogue Jonin's eyes grew wide with astonishment. It was unbelievable to him that someone could so easily elude his senses. He turned to face Naruto and pulled out his kunai. "Are you the one who is causing all the commotion?" he inquired. "A casual, No, but my friend is," was Naruto's response. The ninja from Iwa frowned. He hurried over to Naruto's position and exclaimed, "You have some balls to come here, you brat." Naruto exclaimed, "Wind style. Vacuum stream," and conjured up a tiny but incredibly strong jet of air. Despite dodging, Arakita's right torso was nicked. Such advanced wind-style jutsu? He appears to have just left the academy. Arakita narrowed her eyes and thought. Arakita mumbled, "Earth release, ground fracture," and slammed his hands to the floor. Naruto leapt to his feet, barely avoiding the cracking ground. He created a few shadow clones and moved away from Arakita. Boom! Arakita was blown out of his position. Using Earth Release, Diamond Shield, he was able to lessen the majority of the damage. "What on earth was that? I would recommend you to surrender, all of your friends are dead or incapacitated," said Naruto. "Never," exclaimed the Jonin as it sped toward Naruto. "Earth style. The earth trembles." Naruto made an enormous number of earth spikes with his hands on the ground. Blotch. "My leg," Arakita thought in horror and shock. 2 spikes collided with each other, crushing his leg, which was in the middle. Naruto muttered, "Water style, water bullet," and launched fast-moving water bullets at Arakita. He yelled, "Earth style, mud wall," and formed a massive wall of mud to obstruct the water bullets. Clinging just in time, Arakita parried a katana slash with his kunai. At a rapid pace, Naruto began making one-handed hand signals. Naruto muttered, "Wind style, vacuum bullets," before firing a barrage of vacuum bullets at Akiro. In an attempt to avoid the attacks, he leapt away. Shit! He was thinking when his arm was severed by a stray vacuum bullet. Naruto's clone muttered, "Fire style, fire breath," and produced a tiny flame that cauterized the Iwa ninja's wound. The extreme pain that the renegade Iwa Jonin was experiencing caused him to pass out. Carrying 2 of the Chunin's bodies, Sasuke landed beside him. The remainder of the Chunin joined a few other clones who also leapt to the ground. "All right, the rest of you go and release the prisoners, and send them to a nearby village. Tie up the ninjas and wake them up," Naruto told Sasuke and the clones. To help him look for papers and other evidence, Naruto made 2 clones. 7:06 p.m. "Yo," Naruto said while wearing a mask. Arakita grimaced in agony. "Grr, what do you want from us?" she said. Tell me what you were doing here. I know you really didn't go rogue," said Naruto. Naruto pulled out a picture of a young boy who somewhat resembled Arakita and said, "Oh, if you don't tell me what you were doing here." Arakita's shocked eyes grew wide. "HMHM, it won't be too hard to make a trip to Iwa and come back, so tell me, Arakita, what is the purpose of Iwa sending you here with a few Kiri ninjas?" Naruto inquired. Arakita spit out, "Go to hell. You can never make it past the land of Earth's border." Naruto removed his disguise. Naruto questioned, "Are you sure about that?" He vanished in a flash of yellow and reappeared in another. Naruto appeared to be using the flying Raijin, but it was actually just his extremely quick body flicker, which was extremely uncomfortable to use because he moves faster than his body could manage. He broke Arakita by using it as a scare tactic. "If you spill the beans, Iwa doesn't have to face the second yellow flash so soon," said Naruto. "Oh my fucking god!" exclaimed a nearby ninja. The rogue Kiri ninja Takino Sora was vanquished by Naruto's clones. Naruto grinned and said, "Don't worry, your turn will be next, Takino-san. We are spies who came here to probe the land of fire's defenses," Arakita replied. "And?" Naruto inquired with a hint of murderous intent. And we are ordered to ransack a few villages and towns, and fund some bandits to incite violence and distract Konoha ninjas. Konoha, February 18, 12:32 p.m. Sasuke and Naruto scouted the areas of the Land of Fire for any additional bandit camps that were supported by hostile ninjas. There was only one other, and oddly, it was financed by Iwa and Kumo. Naruto and Sasuke have a solid grasp of the Land of Fire's vulnerabilities, which could pose a serious threat in the event of a conflict, based on their information. Naruto leapt toward the Hokage Tower and declared, "I will report my findings to the old man. I will tell him some of the information we gathered so we can patch up the faults in our security." Sasuke leapt toward his apartment, thinking, it's pretty late to go to the academy now. I guess I will go home and rest. Naruto's perspective. Naruto rapped on the Hokage's office windows. Hiruzen turned to face the person knocking on his window. Hiruzen's eyes slightly widened. Hiruzen sent out his Anbu to let Naruto in because he appeared to be quite serious. "What is it, Naruto?" interrogated Hiruzen. "You have been absent from your classes for 2 days. Where were you and Sasuke then?" There is a problem now. The Land of Fire's defenses are being compromised as we speak. Sasuke and I went around the Land of Fire to scout for bandit camps for experience. We were forced to fight Iwa, Kiri, and Kumo rogue ninjas. Turns out, Kumo and Iwa sent their ninjas here in the guise of them being rogue to probe our defenses, replied Naruto. At that, Hiruzen took a sharp breath. We had a run-in with an Iwa Jonin, and I managed to gather some information on him. These are the locations of the bandit camps and where they will move every week. They are funded to create chaos in villages and towns. Hiruzen gave Naruto's answer a nod. The office of the Hokage. So you want me to tell that I taught you the shadow clone? Why is that? Hiruzen inquired. He was a little perplexed by Naruto's request because he knew that Naruto was capable of making a regular clone. I have a lot of chakra, too much for creating a clone. So many people will feel suspicious of me, said Naruto. In contemplation, Hiruzen puffed his pipe. Alright, if they ask me about it, I will confirm your story, Hiruzen responded. Thanks, old man, Naruto exclaimed with joy in response. Today was the last exam. To seek Hiruzen's assistance, he had dispatched a shadow clone to the Hokage's office. In the academy, so, Naruto, for the last jutsu, do a clone, Iruka said, trying not to show his anxiety. Naruto yelled, shadow clone jutsu, and produced 3 clones. Shadow clones! Exclaimed Mizuki, startled. How did he make 3 shadow clones? I can't even come up with one, Mizuki thought angrily and jealously, but he kept his sour attitude to himself. Naruto, you know you should only create a normal clone, right? I unfortunately have to fail your clone, Mizuki responded. With a childlike manner, Naruto retorted, But the Hokage told me it's alright. He was the one who told me to use it. Oh, if the Hokage said so, I guess we can pass you, Naruto. But I will ask the Hokage, just in case, Iruka replied. Hiruzen said, yes, Iruka, I was the one who said it's fine for him to use it for his exams, as he headed into the testing area. Lord Hokage, with a salute from Iruka and Mizuki. Ha ha ha, Hiruzen chuckled like a grandfather. Please, sit down. I just wanted to inform you about Naruto's situation. I will be giving a speech after the exam is over, Hiruzen replied. Naruto grinned broadly and said, thanks, Gramps. Hiruzen grinned back. Iruka sighed at Naruto's treatment of the Hokage. At the academy's entrance, today, I see the future of Konoha standing before me. You have worked hard, trained through fatigue, stumbled, and risen again to stand here as graduates of the academy. You are no longer merely students. You are shinobi of the Hidden Leaf. And with that title comes something greater than skill or rank. It comes with a responsibility, a bond, a flame we call the Will of Fire. The Will of Fire is more than a belief. It is the lifeblood of this village. It is the understanding that every man, woman, and child of Konoha is family. It is the resolve to protect that family, no matter the cost. It means that the strength you have gained is not yours alone. It belongs to the people you fight for. You will see hardship. There will be days when the missions are cruel, when you will face enemies who wish to see this village burn. In those moments, remember this. The Will of Fire does not flicker in the wind. It roars in the storm. It is courage when you are afraid. It is kindness when you could be cold. It is a sacrifice when others would turn away. Those who came before you carried this flame. The first and second Hokage built this village on it. Your parents and teachers nurtured it. And now, you will carry it forward. One day, when you stand where I stand, you too will pass it on to those who follow. So go forth with your head high, your heart strong, and your flame burning bright. Protect the village. Protect each other. And never forget, the will of fire will never die, as long as there are leaves to carry the flame. Hiruzen concluded, congratulations, young shinobi. Your journey begins now. What an asshole, Naruto thought. He believes that the will of fire is merely propaganda that the village's leaders are using to maintain control. It's a very strong soft power that one can possess. With resentment, Naruto thought, Hashirama's ideals of the will of fire are being twisted into a political tool. The population was being brainwashed by what his ancestor invented. Naruto cannot gripe about this at this time. He must deal with it later. Hiruzen and his advisors had abused it extensively, as evidenced by the cases of numerous ninjas who were shunned because of their choices, including Tsukumo Hitaki. Naruto approached Sasuke and said, "Yo, Sasuke, wanna get lunch?" "Sure," Sasuke said, trailing behind Naruto. He was becoming annoyed by the parents' voices. The fact that they were disparaging Naruto was what really annoyed him, though he was a little envious of others who had parents. They were all whispering to one another about why Naruto shouldn't even be permitted to leave his home and how the Hokage permitted him to graduate. Sasuke was aware of Naruto's predicament, but he was unable to understand why he was so despised. Given that Naruto's mother was close to his own mother, he was perplexed as to why Naruto didn't live with him in the Uchiha clan when it was still in existence. After all, Naruto should have stayed with someone whose parents were close to him. Naruto was aware of the causes, but he was unable to reveal them. He had no choice but to accuse the council of preventing it. Sasuke inquired, "So, did the Hokage vouch for you?" "Yup," Naruto said with a nod. Sasuke said, "What do you want for lunch?" "I don't know. I will get some ramen, I guess," Naruto answered. They were both on their way to their apartment. 1:30 p.m. "Well, we have 3 days before we get back to the academy. What do you want to do?" asked Sasuke. I will try asking who our sensei might be. I already have an idea of who it might be, but I need to confirm. And after that, I think I will continue my sealing arts practice. And maybe I might continue with training my earth-style chakra if I find time for it, said Naruto. Sasuke said, "What about me? You should start doing the final stage of fire chakra mastery. Now that we are graduating, our battles must be won with maximum efficiency. And chakra control is the best way to do it," said Naruto. Sasuke sighed and said, "All right." Sasuke inquired inquisitively, "Oh, and when do you plan on training with the Nine Tails chakra?" "That's quite difficult to say. I need to enclose the entire training ground with a high-level barrier so no one can detect the Nine Tails chakra, but I am not skilled enough for that. This is another reason why I must learn sealing techniques. I could secretly train with the Nine-Tailed chakra if I had access to high-level sealing." Sasuke said, "I will go get some materials for our training. We need more kunai and shuriken. We graduated a while back, so we would require more equipment for missions," as he stood up to gather supplies. "What should I do now?" As he left the apartment, Naruto thought, "I don't feel like training now." Naruto was now dressed in a high-collared, dark, long-sleeved navy blue shirt. Ninjas can wear it because it's lightweight and form-fitting. He was wearing dark navy blue standard ninja pants. His pants were securely fastened with bandages. For easy access to weapons, he wore a kunai holster on his right thigh. With a body flicker, Naruto thought, "I guess I will go check out the shop which made my dad's kunai." Smith Higurashi, Naruto muttered, Looks like they renovated this place," as he observed the two-story structure that had grown in size. He went into the shop and began exploring. He happened upon his classmate by stumbling into an aisle at random. Hinata questioned, "Naruto-kun, what are you doing here?" Naruto's new fit caught her off guard. She took note of Naruto's height and muscular build. His development was well concealed by his heavy, old orange jacket. I am just here to order a few custom equipment," he replied. "Oh, I am here to do the same," she wrote back. Naruto inquired, "So, what made you choose this shop?" Hinata answered, "My friend, Tenten's dad, owns this store." "How about you?" Naruto said, "The old man recommended me this spot," while glancing at a katana with an Uzumaki crest and a red hilt. "Old man?" she asked. "Yeah, the third Hokage. He is like my grandpa since he took care of me ever since I was a child," replied Naruto, raising and examining the hilt. To which Hinata replied, "Oh, I didn't know the Hokage and you were that close." "Yup," Naruto answered. "What are you looking for here?" I am trying to get a custom-made katana since I am quite proficient with it, replied Naruto. I am here to get some standard ninja clothes, kunai, and senbon, replied Hinata. From a door came the voice of a girl. Hinata. I got it. A girl with brown hair tied in 2 buns ran towards them as the door squeaked open. Tenten said, Who are you? Naruto said, I am Naruto Uzumaki, and you are? Tenten responded, My name is Tenten Higurashi, and my dad owns this store. A tall, stern man came in the back door of the store and said, Oh, Tenten, where were you? I was just getting Lord Fort's kunai to show it to Hinata. Replied Tenten. Oh, my name is Takeshi Higurashi, I am the owner of this little store, he said. When he greeted Naruto, his gaze lingered on him for a short while. Good afternoon, Higurashi-san, Hinata and Naruto said. Naruto is usually not formal with people, so Hinata was taken aback by his formality. Then Naruto handed him a scroll and said, I am here to get a few custom orders. To find out what Naruto desired, he unfolded the scroll. The man's pupils contracted in surprise as his eyes widened. He wants 60 kunai, 40 shuriken, and... He confirmed his suspicions by staring directly into Naruto's eyes. Naruto nodded subtly. I already got one of the orders ready, Naruto-kun. They have been made a long time ago, but the requester died before he could collect the order, Takeshi said with a sorrowful scowl. I can do the other orders right now, but the order of your katana will take some time, he said. Okay, Higurashi-san, oh, here, I want the hilt to be of this design. Make sure I can add some of my own seals onto them, Naruto replied. Tenten said, I will go get your stuff, Hinata, and she followed her dad. Hinata inquired, had lunch yet? No, Naruto answered. Hinata asked, trying not to show how nervous she was, I know a spot nearby, would you care to join? With a clumsy, yeah, sure, Naruto replied. Here, Takeshi said, bringing several scrolls. These are your kunai and shuriken. And this one has the custom order, and this one is standard ninja clothing, the clothes are complimentary. Naruto took the scrolls and sealed them into his wrist. Oh, thanks, he said. Given that her father rarely gives anything away for free, Tenten was taken aback. Naruto inquired, how much is the cost? The bill was given by Higurashi. The amount was 45,000 ryo. The initial deposit was 25,000 ryo for the custom katana, 10,000 ryo for the kunai and shuriken, and 10,000 ryo for the custom kunai. This was a cheap amount because Minato had already paid the initial amount while he was still living. Together, Naruto and Hinata headed to a nearby ninja bar for lunch. Naruto smirked and said, I didn't know you liked this kind of place. Hinata raised a curious eyebrow to her right. What I meant was, with you being the clan heiress of such a prestigious clan, I thought you would go out to eat in a very formal location, Naruto joked. Hinata smirked and shot back, TCH, it gets tiring to always act so formal. HM. They took a seat in a corner of the eatery. A waiter approached and inquired about their order. Naruto didn't look like him in his new clothes, so she didn't recognize him. They were awaiting their meal after placing their order. So, Naruto-kun, where do you and Sasuke-san go after lunch break during academy hours? Replied Hinata. Naruto's eyebrows slightly lifted. Naruto replied, who else knows? I don't know, I was only able to find that you swapped yourself with a type of clone using the Byakugan, replied Hinata. But Shikamaru-san might suspect something, he is a bit too smart for his own good, she said. Can't agree more, Nara clan's members are all quite smart, but it's simply too troublesome to do anything about it, said Naruto. The waiter said, here is your food, sir, ma'am, and set their food down. They said, thank you, and began to eat. Naruto questioned, don't you have a sister? Yes, her name is Hanabi. She just entered the academy this year, and she was already promoted to the 3rd year batch. Quite impressive, but I thought they stopped early promotions a few years back after that incident, replied Naruto. I guess my clan can be quite persuasive, Hinata said. Naruto grinned and said, I guess, yeah, in response. Well, it's getting late now, Naruto-kun. I hope we can meet each other during the team placements. I have to train with my father soon, Hinata said as she stood up. Naruto did the same. Hey, we should do this again sometime, what about next week? Replied Naruto. Yes, at the same location and time on Sunday afternoon, I would be available, Hinata said. June 14th, 9:30 a.m. Hiruzen laughed and puffed on his tobacco-filled pipe. Naruto, you are giving me flashbacks with that outfit of yours, he said. Hee, I don't think most will know just with a wardrobe change, replied Naruto. Dup. Hey, Dad, I'm going to defeat you today and emerge as the 5th Hokage. A young boy ran in the direction of the Hokage and yelled. All right, ouch. The young child, who had tripped over his scarf, let out a painful cry. When should I attend the academy, then? Ignoring the boy, Naruto inquired. Hiruzen merely sighed. Hiruzen said, you should be there before 9 o'clock. Hey, did you not tripping me? The young child angrily yelled at Naruto. Brat, who are you? As he stood up to go, Naruto asked. You ruined my plan for defeating the old man. The boy yelled as he ran towards Naruto. You should say you're sorry. The boy yelled. You tripped on your own scarf, plus, I was quite a fair distance from you, said Naruto. Oh no, you should say you're sorry. The boy yelled as he approached Naruto's face. Grabbing his shirt, Naruto raised him. Hey, put me down, the boy yelled. You're a jerk, put down the Honorable Hokage's grandson. An angry man wearing round black glasses yelled. Well, Naruto turned to face the Hokage. He is my grandson, Konohamaru, Hiruzen sighed, appearing a little ashamed. Yes, put me down, the Hokage is my grandfather. You should say you're sorry. Konohamaru, the boy, yelled angrily. Naruto interrupted, saying, I don't give a damn if he's your grandmother. Konohamaru screamed in agony and fell face first as Naruto yelled and gave him a hard blow to the head. Naruto waved, bye, old man, and body flickered off to the office. Hiruzen didn't really care, but Ebisu was shocked by what Naruto had just done. June 15th. Naruto walked slowly to where Sasuke was sitting and took a seat, but no one bothered to look at him when he entered the classroom. Will you let me know who our sensei will be? Naruto simply grinned and said, just wait a couple of days, man, in response to Sasuke's persistent question. No, but I'll let you know who our teammate will be. Naruto muttered. Who is it? Sakura is your biggest admirer. Naruto grinned as he spoke. Sasuke's horrified eyes grew wide. Bang, I arrived first. Ino, a blonde girl, yelled. No, I was obviously in front of you. Sakura, a girl with pink hair, yelled back. Just due to the size of your forehead. With a louder voice, Ino yelled. They both headed to Sasuke's location. Naruto, get out. Sasuke can only be seated with us. Sakura yelled, and Ino nodded in agreement. Why should I, too? Naruto raised an eyebrow in question. You're not cool just because you're dressed differently. You'll never be like Sasuke. Ino shot back. Everyone was watching, and they were all taken aback by Naruto's transformation. A chilly voice said, go sit elsewhere, you're all annoying, Sasuke said. Sakura sat next to Sasuke, and Ino sat behind him, both of them perplexed. After saying, everyone, settle down, Iruka went into the classroom. He was ignored, though, as half of them whispered about Naruto's recent changes and the others discussed how powerful they would be as ninjas. All of you, listen and sit down. With the aid of chakra, Iruka yelled. They all sat down in silence and awaited Iruka's orders. Each of you has been placed in a 4-person team consisting of 3 genins and 1 jonin. Iruka declared, you can speak with the Hokage if you have any grievances regarding the team. All right, after 10 minutes, Team 7, Iruka was saying, Sakura Haruno, Naruto Uzumaki, and then there was a thump. No, why must I work with him as a teammate? Sakura yelled angrily. As I said before, if you find any problems, you could take it up with the Hokage, Iruka said with a stern tone. And Sasuke, Iruka added, and Sakura squealed with delight as Ino slammed her head against her bench in disappointment. Ah, genuine love triumphs, Sakura yelled triumphantly. Sakura was silenced when Iruka gave her a stern look. Team 8, Hiba Inuzuka, Hinata Hyuga, and Shino Aburame. Team 9, Hinasaku, Shibazaki, Akiyamane. Team 10, Ino Yamanaka, Shikamaru Nara, and Akamichi Choji. Iruka concluded the team announcement. Iruka said, your teachers will be coming to pick up your teams, before heading out. Oh no, why must I be with you and the fat person? After Iruka departed, Ino complained. Hey, I'm not overweight, Choji responded with a shout. Team 10, I am Asuma, and I will be your Jonin sensei, a cigarette-wielding man declared. I am Team 8 Zakurine. A woman turned around and walked away, saying, "Come with me." Naruto pulled out a book and began to read it. He was prepared for the lengthy wait because he knew who his sensei would be and what his antics were. 3 hours. He is coming, said Naruto. Sasuke gave a nod. Oh, Naruto, don't tell lies, Sakura yelled. A masked, one-eyed, white-haired man stepped through the door. What? Sakura was taken aback when the man arrived a few seconds after Naruto's statement. I'm Kakashi Hatake from Team 7. I'll be your Jonin sensei, Kakashi remarked idly. They all went to the rooftop with Kakashi. Let's start with our introduction. Tell me about yourselves, Kakashi said. Why don't you demonstrate how to introduce ourselves, sensei? Sakura inquired. Kakashi let out a sigh. My name is Hatake Kakashi. I have a lot of interests. In terms of my likes, I really don't like much, and in terms of my dislikes, I really don't dislike anything. What I dream of is. I don't feel like telling you about it, people, Kakashi replied idly. Everyone started to perspire. Pinky, why don't you go up next? Kakashi inquired. Sakura Haruno is my name. As for my interests, my pastime is hehehehe. Gesturing at Sasuke, I despise both Naruto and Ino. Sakura yelled, and my dream is to look at Sasuke creepily. Well, I'll go next. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. Eating various kinds of ramen and working out with Sasuke are my pastimes. I make my parents proud and I like my precious people. What I detest is fangirls. And I want to be the Hokage. Naruto uttered those words. Without displaying any signs of surprise, Kakashi simply nodded. Sakura raises her right eyebrow in question. Sakura, I won't tell you about my parents just yet. Naruto said, I don't trust you. Huff, most likely, you have no parents. Sakura gave all 3 of her teammates glares as she sighed, I don't need to know who they are. Sakura drew back in anxiety as she watched their glares. My name is Sasuke Uchiha. My hobbies are training with Naruto. I like training with Naruto. I hate fangirls, openly glaring at Sakura, and my ambition is to kill a certain person, Sasuke stated with a gloomy expression. As anticipated, Kakashi and Naruto reflected. Kakashi declared, now, all of us will be doing a survival exercise tomorrow. What? Why is a survival exercise required of us? In the academy, we had already done that, Sakura said. Kakashi laughed. Well, this isn't like that. To determine whether you 3 are prepared to be ninjas, I will put you through a test. Only 9 students will pass the test out of 30. The odds of failure are more than 66%, Kakashi remarked, grinning. What? Sakura cried out in terror. At 7 a.m., you should all gather at Training Ground 3. Don't be late, and since you might throw up, I advise against eating breakfast, Kakashi advised. All right, goodbye. With a wave, Kakashi departed in a body flicker. Naruto departed in a body flicker, saying, Sasuke, the usual spot, and Sasuke quickly followed. 8 p.m. Hi, Naruto. Mizuki leapt in Naruto's direction and yelled. Well, sensei, what is it? Naruto inquired. You must have learned about the test from your Jonin sensei, right? Since you are the Hokage's favorite, we decided to give you another test even though Kakashi has a reputation for failing all of his genin teams. You only need to do. 11:12 p.m. Hiruzen exclaimed in horror, Naruto. What are you doing here? It took you all long enough, I mean, I was waiting here for like 5 minutes. Replied Naruto. Hiruzen appeared perplexed. Mizuki-sensei told me that if I take the scroll of seals, I will pass the final genin test, said Naruto. Oh, seems like we have a traitor in our midst, Hiruzen said gravely. Naruto said, yes, what do you propose I do? I will give you a high B rank mission, Hiruzen declared. An Anbu materialized next to him when he waved his hand. Naruto questioned, what are the mission parameters? Hiruzen replied, you should incapacitate him. We need intel from him. Will do, Naruto said, removing a fictitious forbidden scroll from the Anbu who had been dispatched to retrieve one. Naruto leapt from the window. When Mizuki notices Naruto fleeing, she notifies everyone in the village. 1:10 a.m. Naruto, what do you think you are doing? Iruka yelled as he materialized close to Naruto. Oh, hey, sensei. I learned a jutsu from the scroll, does it mean that I pass and actually become a genin? Naruto was hopeful. Iruka said, perplexed, what do you mean? Well, Mizuki-sensei told if I learn something from this scroll, I will pass and don't need to attend the test Kakashi-sensei will be giving tomorrow, replied Naruto. Iruka's eyes grew wide with realization and terror. Hey, Naruto, you pass, now, give me the scroll, Mizuki exclaimed as she materialized atop a tree. Iruka turned around and brandished a kunai, yelling, Naruto. Don't, he tricked you. Why don't I explain to you why everyone despises you, Naruto? With a menacing grin, Mizuki yelled, I'll tell you why Iruka and everyone else despise you. Mizuki does not. It is not allowed, Iruka yelled in terror. You are the Nine Tails in human form, which is why. Your powers were taken away by the fourth Hokage, which changed you into a boy from your original body. Mizuki yelled, grinning madly. He hurled a Fuma Shuriken in Naruto and Iruka's direction, which they both managed to avoid. TCH, please, Naruto, just die for me. Mizuki said as she hurried over to Naruto. Wind style, air bullets, Naruto said, blowing out a few air bullets at Mizuki after going through a few hand signals. The attacks took Mizuki by surprise and hit him in several key areas. This is your end, Mizuki, Naruto declared as he withdrew his katana from that seal. You demon, this is not over, Mizuki said, pulling out a tiny veil and swallowing it fast. To put some distance between himself and Naruto, he abruptly leapt behind. When Mizuki began to transform into a beast, Naruto's right eyebrow shot up in perplexity. Well, your enormous chakra reserves and quick healing, Naruto said, somewhat shocked. They were shot through the roof. From where did you obtain that? Ha 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 ha. This is Lord Orochimaru's greatest gift. I had this power because he wanted me to get stronger. Mizuki yelled with insane rage. Naruto gestured for the assistance of the Anbu. What is going on? Neko inquired. His chakra reserves are higher, and the rate of healing has shot through the roof, said Naruto. Amid the chaos, Iruka appeared perplexed. Mizuki slashed at them as she sprang at them with great speed. Neko's stomach was slightly scratched as Naruto and she dodged. He also moves rather quickly. I think it's about Jonin level, Naruto remarked, drawing his katana. This idiot is forcing me to reveal my secrets at such an early age, Naruto thought. Jutsu for shadow clones. 10 clones appeared around them as Naruto yelled, waving a hand sign for the jutsu with one hand. Wind style. Fantastic innovation. Naruto leapt in the direction of the Anbu and shoved her away as 6 of them yelled. Neko was amazed to see the massive wall of flame that Naruto had created when the other clones used a high-level fire jutsu. Fortunately, the fire did not spread. Naruto got off of her once the flames subsided. When Naruto used chakra suppressing seals to lock Mizuki off, Mizuki appeared to age 40 years and turned into a pale, withered body. Mizuki was standing there, looking quite burned, and he lunged towards Naruto. How did you harm me? Mizuki's voice was raspy as she asked angrily. You bastard, I did nothing to you. Your body was altered by the potion you drank. By speeding up the growth and regeneration of your cells, it gave you strength. However, it cost you your life expectancy, Naruto remarked. As Iruka and Naruto departed for the Hokage Tower, Neko rose and carried Mizuki's weak body with her. Naruto showed up at the window of the office. Yo, old man, said Naruto. All right, your mission payment is here. Hiruzen handed out a slip and said, I will send my Anbu to stop the search and inform about the mission. You have to get up early for your test, so go to bed. Hiruzen grinned as he spoke. Do you really think I'll get up so early for Kakashi? Don't fool me, he's going to be really late, Naruto smirked in response. Ha 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 ha, he responded with a grandfatherly laugh. Hiruzen shouted, good luck, Naruto, and dismissed him. 9:30 a.m. Sasuke and Naruto went into the clearing. Hey, Naruto, why are you late? Sakura yelled. I'm not the only one who is late, you know. Naruto shot back. Sasuke's tardiness must have been justified. Sakura answered. We share a residence. We have the same reason, Naruto glared in response. All right, you two, stop. Sasuke stated, we must get ready for the exercise. I prepared the traps. I already know what the test will be like, Naruto said. What will be the subject of the test? Sasuke inquired. It's about cooperation. We must remain together in order to survive his attempts to split us up. All we need to do is fail together to pass, regardless of whether we accomplish the goal, Naruto retorted. Sakura and Sasuke both nodded. 10 a.m. Yo, Kakashi said as he materialized in a cloud of smoke. You're running late. Sakura yelled. You see, while coming over here, I saw a black cat, so I had to go around the village to come here, replied Kakashi. You are lying, Sakura responded with a shout. Well, it's getting late, so I will tell you about the test, Kakashi remarked, disregarding Sakura. Kakashi pulled out 2 bells. You guys need to take at least 1 bell in order to pass the test. Oh, you guys will have lunch if you were able to get a bell. If not, you'll be tied to that post, Kakashi added. When Kakashi brought up lunch, Sakura's stomach rumbled with hunger and she looked dumbfounded. Sakura thought in agony, Gah, I didn't even eat dinner. Well, did you two eat breakfast when I told you not to? Kakashi asked sharply. Naruto shot back, you recommended us not to, you didn't order us not to eat. Looks like you both looked underneath the underneath, Kakashi said, grinning. All right, the test has begun since the timer has been set to noon. With that, Kakashi set the timer. Sasuke and Sakura vanished. Well, you don't seem that strong, but the Hokage told me that you are not to be underestimated, Kakashi said, glancing at Naruto. Kakashi's single eye grew wide with astonishment. Kakashi narrowed his eyes and said, I can neither sense nor smell you. You may be an excellent tracker, sensei, but I have countermeasures for most sensors, just like you do. Shall we begin now, sensei? As he prepared for battle, Naruto uttered these words. Kakashi became serious, thinking, I should not take him lightly, he can completely conceal his presence. His chakra control must be pretty good. Kakashi grunted in pain, but Naruto counterpunched, which was also blocked, and Naruto ran at him, sending a punch that was easily blocked. Naruto thought in agony, damn, he hits hard. For the past minute, they had been trading kicks and fists, and although their exchanges were rather quick, Kakashi eventually prevailed by deceiving Naruto with a feint and kicking him away. Despite landing a few paces away, Naruto was unable to stop the powerful kick that was headed his way. Gah, you don't treat your students with compassion, do you? Naruto shot back. Kakashi mockingly said, you are too strong for me to show mercy, Naruto, as he began to run in Naruto's direction. As Kakashi dodged a fire jutsu, he thought, looks like Sasuke is here now. Surprised, Kakashi pulled out a kunai and blocked the shuriken that was headed his way, thinking, oh, and she is here too. Kakashi ran toward Sasuke. Fire style, ember strike. With his fists encased in flames, Sasuke yelled and began practicing taijutsu with Kakashi. Wind style, the air blade. Swiping his hand, Naruto yelled. Kakashi leapt a few paces away, barely avoiding. Fire style, Sasuke muttered, flame barrage, and hurled a massive barrage of fireballs at Kakashi. Kakashi swatted the flames away and covered his arm with mud. Wind style, vacuum bullets, Naruto uttered as he fired a large number of hand signals. After being hit by a few, Kakashi burst into a cloud of smoke. Using his katana, Naruto deflected Kakashi's blow. Naruto began practicing one-handed hand signals. Water style, Senbon barrage of water. As he made a bunch of Senbon out of water and pointed it at Kakashi, Naruto spoke. Kakashi thought, water style jutsu without using a water source. That must take a lot of chakra, and leapt aside. Fire style, Kakashi said, fireball jutsu, after evaporating all the water needles and weaving a few hand signals. Oh my god, I was covered in seals, which sprang up when he stepped on a trap, Kakashi said, but froze. Damn, Kakashi thought out loud, surprised that they were guiding him here. Naruto approached and picked up the bells with a casual demeanor. So, who gets the bells, Naruto? After breaking the seal of paralysis, Kakashi asked. Cut the crap, we already know all about the test, Naruto shot back, his eyes widening slightly before returning to normal. With a smile, Kakashi's right eye curved upward. Well, we're officially Team 7 now. Hooray! Sakura exclaimed joyfully, and Sasuke and Naruto grinned. Follow me, Kakashi said. He led them to the memorial stone in Konoha. I tested 3 teams before you guys, and they were all a complete failure. They never realized the test's actual purpose. Kakashi looked at the memorial stone and said gravely, this is where the names of ninjas who are Kia are. Naruto said, it would be an honor to have one's name engraved there. Sasuke, Sakura, and Kakashi nodded. The names of everyone I care about are inscribed here. During our third, just before he passed away rescuing my teammate, my best friend Obito Uchiha said, in the ninja world, those who don't follow the rules are trash. But those who abandon their friends are even worse than trash. Kakashi took this statement seriously. Well, tomorrow we will begin our missions. After missions, I am going to train you all down to the ground, so be ready, Kakashi said before disappearing into a cloud of smoke. Well, now that we are actual genins, I have a lot of work to do, Naruto replied. Sasuke nodded, same, and they both departed in a body flicker. What, they abandoned me in this place? Sakura sobbed. 2:30 p.m. I dunno. Well, Naruto, you took your sweet time, Hiruzen remarked as he opened the window to let him in. Naruto uttered the words sheepishly, he, it took me some time to find all the documents. Naruto said, here, and handed over all the papers. All right, I'll assign your group to travel to the fire capital. After the mission is over, you can stay longer to finish the work, Hiruzen said. When is the mission, Naruto inquired. There will be a mission next month to carry the budget reports of the village, and your team will be responsible for carrying them there, Hiruzen replied. Naruto said, all right, I'll finish the work. Lunch is almost ready. Do you want to have lunch with Konohamaru and me? Hiruzen inquired. Sure, Naruto answered. Konohamaru, are you not in class? Naruto inquired. No, there were no classes for my class because my teacher was on a mission, Konohamaru retorted. Naruto raised an eyebrow in Hiruzen's direction. His sensei is Mizuki. We are still finding a few replacements for him at the moment, since it will take time for him to come back, Hiruzen responded. Naruto gave a sympathetic nod. After lunch, how about I teach you something, Kono? Naruto inquired. That would be fantastic. With stars in his eyes, Konohamaru uttered those words. Ahem, Naruto-kun, don't teach him that jutsu again, he was quite the handful after he had learned it, Hiruzen said with a stern voice. Naruto said, don't worry, old man, with a low voice. I need to show that Hyuga girl who's in charge, so you better teach me something cool, big bro. Konohamaru punched the air and yelled. Well, Kono, who are you referring to? Naruto inquired. She is Hanabi, the daughter of the head of the Hyuga clan. Just because she skipped a grade or two, she acts so arrogant, Konohamaru snorted. Naruto grinned. Oh, I heard she was quite the prodigy, she learned the gentle fist at record time, much faster than her cousin, Neji Hyuga, who was supposedly the strongest graduate in the past few years, said Naruto. Oh, hurry up, I need your assistance, big bro, Konohamaru implored. Naruto said, I already agreed I will teach you, brat, let me think over what I should teach you while we have lunch, as he walked into Ichiraku's ramen stand. I want the usual, old man, Naruto inquired. Hiruzen said, I would like my usual as well, and sat down. I want whatever big bro Naruto is having, Konohamaru said. Chuki said, good afternoon, Lord Hokage, and then began preparing the order of ramen. 3:30 p.m. Tell me what they are teaching you in the academy, said Naruto. Well, they taught me some boring history, the leaf-sticking concentration exercise, and recently, taijutsu katas, replied Konohamaru. They were in training ground 11, which was safe because it was close to an Anbu base and the Hokage monument. I am going to teach you a higher form of chakra control, but before that, I want to see how long you can stick a leaf on your forehead, Naruto replied. Oh no, I'd like to pick up some cool ninjutsu, Konohamaru complained. You brat, look at this. You can accomplish things you've never been able to do if you have good chakra control. I have good chakra control, so I can walk on water and vertical surfaces. Since they wouldn't be able to perform any jutsu without it, the majority of ninjas are capable of doing this. Having both high chakra levels and high chakra control is necessary for the majority of mid and high level ninjutsu techniques. You don't have either at the moment, but with what I'm going to teach you, you'll have better control and larger chakra reserves. And I'll teach you a cool jutsu when I think you're ready, Naruto advised. Alright, Konohamaru huffed in response. He put a leaf on his forehead, and it remained there for a minute before falling. Well, that's good. As he ascended a tree without using his hands, Naruto declared, I will now be teaching the tree climbing exercise. Whoa, big bro, how did you do that? In awe, he inquired. Naruto said, I used my chakra to stick my feet with the trunk of the tree, as he hurled a kunai that struck Konohamaru. Mark your progress with it. Oh, I only have one piece of advice for you, and that is to always maintain emotional control because it will impact your ability to control your chakras. It's time for me to go now, goodbye. With a flicker of his body, Naruto departed. August 15th, 1:30 p.m. They were searching for that cat again, and apparently they were the best at finding her. The cat was extremely agile and had a sharp sense of danger, and Kakashi had prohibited them from using any jutsu in order to foster teamwork with Sakura. It was just another ordinary day of D ranks, but this one was taking absurdly long. No, they were the best fit for this mission because they had the highest success rate and were therefore ideal for the position. Hey, you devil's spawn, come back here. I want to skin you so I can make a coat for my sister's upcoming birthday, so come on over. During the chase, Sakura yelled. I don't think the cat wants to be skinned, you know. In a casual way, Naruto started. Oh no, let's just finish this mission. We don't have all day. Sasuke sighed in frustration. Why must we perform these pointless tasks so frequently? Naruto sighed, and Sasuke became extremely irritated. He leapt at the cat, grasped it firmly, and locked eyes with it. Sasuke's Sharingan came to life, and he used a genjutsu to put Tora to sleep. I'm finally going to stop doing this mission. Sakura grumbled. Yes, sensei, Naruto said with a nod. To turn over the mission, they all went into the Hokage's office. I'm done with missions like this, old man. A better mission is what I need. Naruto let out a sigh. Sakura was taken aback by Naruto's rudeness toward the Hokage, who he usually referred to as old man. Well, Hiruzen said, passing a scroll to Kakashi, let's see if you can handle this mission. However, Lord Hokage, that mission is rated AB. Iruka expressed his worry. Don't worry, Iruka, based on our risk assessment, this mission is only AC rank at most. With a composed smile, Hiruzen answered, it's of a high rank due to its importance. Kakashi nodded after reading the scroll. Lord Hokage, we'll prepare. The royal ambassador will arrive when? Kakashi inquired. Hiruzen said, he will be here by 4 p.m., so get ready, as he exhaled smoke from his pipe. 4 p.m. Ah, you are all on time, good, smiled Hiruzen. The ambassador remarked, so, they are going to be traveling with me, He was a slender man dressed in pricey robes. He looked closely at each of them. His gaze stayed on Sasuke and Naruto for a few seconds longer than Sakura's and Kakashi's. He recognized Sasuke as a Uchiha based on his clan emblem, but he was unable to pinpoint the precise location of Naruto's familiarity. Well, the boy is the Jinchuriki, but there's more. The ambassador thought, I think he looks like someone I know. Well, they are the best genin team I could offer. They are the strongest team from their graduation class, Hiruzen replied with a grin. Thank you for providing such an excellent team to protect me, Lord Hokage, the individual replied. The man introduced himself as Fujiwara Haruto, the ambassador for the court of the Land of Fire this year. Sakura said, my name is Sakura Haruno. In greeting. Naruto said, my name is Naruto Uzumaki. In greeting. Uzumaki, it's been a while since I heard that name. He pondered. Sasuke said, I am Sasuke Uchiha, to greet. Kakashi said, I am Kakashi Hatake, languidly. Kakashi Hatake, you are the famed copycat ninja of the leaf. I am a big fan of your feats during the Third Great Ninja War, the ambassador said. At that, Kakashi gave an unsteady laugh. Well, let's get a move on now. If we leave now, we could reach the capital within 3 days, Kakashi stated. But, sensei, with our speed, we could reach there in just a day, Sakura remarked. Ha ha ha, Sakura-san, I think you forgot about me. I am not as fast as you all are, Haruto said, laughing. Kakashi gave that a nod. The southern gate of Konoha. Sensei, why do we travel at this hour? Won't it be dangerous? Replied Sakura. Well, Sakura, when we set up camp within a few hours, we will still be close to Konoha, so we could get help quite quickly. The first night outside the village will be much safer then, so it will be easy for you all to ease into these conditions slowly, replied Kakashi. Sakura gave that a nod. They soon arrived at the fire capital. August 18th, 7:30 p.m. Sakura exclaimed, at last. We made it, with relief and excitement. Whoa, we still have to report to the daimyo's office and give him the required documents, replied Kakashi. Sakura huffed and said, all right. Naruto, Sasuke, I have a task for you too. You both will be writing the mission report tomorrow. Also, the Hokage is letting us stay here for a bit longer, so enjoy yourselves, Kakashi stated. Okay, they both said. Sakura gazed at the magnificent daimyo palace and exclaimed, I can't believe I am actually going inside the castle for once. I have been here many times with my family, but I never had permission to go in there," with amazement. "Hurry up, else Lord Daimyo might retire for the night, which will delay our mission by a day. Then you guys won't be able to go out and enjoy," Kakashi told them in a hurry. The ambassador caught up to them quickly. "Yes, Lord Daimyo retires for the night at 8:30 p.m., so we must be quick," Haruto replied. 7:50 p.m. "It's good that the palace is so massive, else we would have gotten lost in this big city," said Sakura. "Halt, identify yourselves and give your reason for trying to enter the daimyo's palace," commanded a samurai guard. They all produced their identity cards and gave them to the security personnel. "I am Haruto Fujiwara. I am here on official business regarding Konoha. They are my guards and they are to accompany me to the daimyo's office as he requested," said Haruto. A guard questioned, "What took you all this long?" "We were ambushed by 4 bandit camps while on the way. The numbers were massive, so it took some time to clear them away," said Naruto. At that, the guards nodded and opened the door for them. Sakura tried not to be in awe of the palace's gardens as she collected herself. The interior was really beautiful, with numerous pricey portraits and artifacts arranged in a tidy and well-organized manner. The daimyo's office was open to them. Harunobu Shiyo, the daimyo, was a man in his mid-30s. In his formal clothes, he had a very regal appearance. He was surrounded by 4 samurai guards for his safety. "Good evening, Lord Daimyo," said the 5-person group. The daimyo said, "Good evening, everyone. How was your trip?" "It went well, Lord Daimyo," replied Haruto, grinning courtly. His gaze shifted to Team 7. Good, so these are the ninjas who are protecting you," he said. "Give my assistant the files and documents, please," the daimyo declared. "I want to retire early tonight because it's getting late. I have prepared rooms for you 4. Please spend tonight with me and my family over for dinner. I want to get to know this generation of Team 7, said the daimyo. "We would be honored, my lord," Kakashi said, lowering himself a little. When the daimyo said, "You all are dismissed," all but Naruto departed. "Hi, Naruto, stop standing there, we've been dismissed," Sakura yelled. "You should go, Sakura." Naruto picked up a scroll from his jacket and walked toward the daimyo, saying, "I have other matters here." The samurai approached him, putting their hands on their hilts. "You are all dismissed." The samurai appeared hesitant, but they nodded and quietly departed after the daimyo said, "I have something important to talk about with him." "So, you are Naruto," the daimyo remarked, glancing up and down at Naruto. "It's best if I shut the place off before we speak." Naruto slammed his hand down on the floor and said, "We don't want unwanted ears listening." A massive mixture of kanji burst from his palm and spread to all 4 corners of the office. Naruto remarked, "Now it's secure, Lord Daimyo." "Naruto-kun, what are you here to discuss?" The daimyo opened the scroll he had been given and said, "I know you are not here to hand me the scroll alone." Naruto said, "You know what I am here for, Lord Harunobu," as he opened numerous documents. The daimyo sighed as he had to go through each document. "I want to gain access to my inheritance," Naruto declared. That will be quite difficult," Harunobu frowned in response. "How? Is it insufficient that I am the beneficiary of a trust that owns the company's shares?" Naruto gave a straight face in response. "It is rightfully yours, but the political upheaval of a 12-year-old child becoming the major shareholder of such a big company would be too big. The political upheaval incoming would be bigger than that, and I don't think it would be a wise decision if you were to alienate Konoha when it comes up," Naruto replied. Naruto's response caused the daimyo's eyes to widen. "Konoha will support me because they would be extremely resentful if a politician or avaricious noble were to obtain a significant asset like Sirin Trading Group." Naruto went on, "Konoha would go to great lengths to acquire and place the company under someone loyal to Konoha. Those opposed to you have already begun to take action. Are you willing to take a chance by pressuring your main sponsor for the token backing of a select group of nobles who could be easily silenced?" With a serious expression, Naruto inquired. "Regarding the significant political upheaval I mentioned earlier, there is a good possibility that we will go to war with Kumo and Iwa. We were able to postpone their plans for a few years because we have enough evidence, but it is unavoidable." Harunobu's furious reply died in his throat before it could be uttered. "By war, what do you mean?" he inquired. Naruto said, "Look in the report. Over the last 6 months, my friend and I have been able to identify a lot of spies. They were all ninjas who pretended to be rogue ninjas in order to avoid punishment if their village was discovered, Naruto retorted. Harunobu glanced at the Hokage's reports. You will have my support, but it will take some time before I can transfer control of the Sirin trading group over to you, Harunobu stated. The time it will take will be around 6 to 7 months since the other shareholders will file lawsuits, which will delay the process a lot, Harunobu said. That will work, Naruto said with a nod. Good, now get ready for dinner. There are some formal wear items for you in your room if you don't have any formal wear on you right now, Harunobu said as he stood up. After opening the door, Naruto and Harunobu left the office. I will take you to your room, stated Harunobu. The response from Naruto was, oh, no, that's not necessary. Oh, hurry up, while we're there, we can converse. Since you have real-world experience eliminating bandits and spies, you could provide some broad updates on national events. I'd like to know what's happening in the nation. I frequently ignore such issues because I am too busy to look at them myself, Harunobu retorted. Is he playing dumb or is he lying? Naruto wondered. Well, the bandits have been causing a ruckus, which would slow down any development made in villages. Also, the taxes collected there would also lower due to them losing revenue, which is stolen by bandits and rogue ninjas, Naruto replied. So it's quite imperative to have more ninjas around the field to quell any bandit camps before they become actual threats, Naruto went on. That is a serious issue. How much do you think this problem costs us in revenue? Harunobu inquired. Well, we would be losing around if you just looked at it up front. 30 billion ryo, answered Naruto. But there's more to it than that. Banditry will prevent any progress in villages, which will reduce the village's future earnings. Furthermore, because farmers and laborers will be very frugal with their money, they will spend less, which will reduce economic output. In the future, this will add up to a significant amount. He went on, it could easily cost the nation hundreds of billions of ryo. The court members had intended to reduce Konoha's budget, but it turned out that doing so would be more detrimental than beneficial, and Harunobu's eyes widened slightly. I will be sure to increase Konoha's budget and make sure it goes to the academy, so more ninjas will be there to protect the land of fire, Harunobu stated. They had reached Naruto's quarters, where he would spend a few days. Be prepared because dinner will be served in an hour. Harunobu motioned for one of the guards to remain close to Naruto's room, saying, he will take you to the dining hall. Naruto said, thank you, Lord Harunobu, with a small bow. 9 p.m. Naruto looked around and thought, damn, I have never seen a place this extravagant. Welcome, Uzumaki-sama, Uchiha-sama, Haruno-san, Hataki-san, said a group of 3 kids, the oldest of whom appeared to be 13-year-old Masora, followed by 11-year-old Rinko and 8-year-old Renji. Sakura thought incredulously, but she kept it to herself. Uzumaki-sama. Thank you, Masora-sama, Renji-sama, acknowledged the 4 members of the team at the same time. Naruto sat down when Harunobu motioned for him to do so, and Sasuke chose to join him. Masora sat across from Naruto and gave him a seductive glance. Naruto thought, a little irritated, oh come on. She just saw me and is acting all so, like that. How is it to be a ninja, Uzumaki-sama? Masora smiled and asked. It's pretty interesting, Naruto said after giving it some thought. Have you participated in any interesting missions? Curious, she inquired. Well, our mission would be deemed interesting. We only completed this high-ranking mission, the others were all chores, Naruto jokingly said. When Naruto responded, she covered her laughter. Sakura and Sasuke thought, what is she laughing at? He wasn't even funny. Uchiha-sama, would you mind demonstrating your clan's fireball jutsu for me? Rinko inquired. It's pretty unsafe to show it to others, it can burn really hot, Sasuke answered awkwardly. It's okay, I'll be right behind you when you do it, she answered. Sasuke remarked, I guess I can show it to you tomorrow. Sakura wasn't enjoying what was happening, but Kakashi was. Sakura muttered, what is this bitch trying to do? I have been flirting with Sasuke-kun for 7 years. And she thinks she can get him just in a day. August 19th, 10 a.m. We're finally out of that awful place. Naruto whispered to himself. Oh my god, I detest those 3. Sakura muttered something. Sasuke gave a frustrated nod. Kakashi left in a body flicker after saying, okay, you 3 can do whatever you want, but Naruto, Sasuke, you 2 have to finish the report today, stat. Why did they call you Uzumaki-sama, Naruto? She inquired. That's because I am the Uzumaki clan's heir. They were almost like kings. I came here to talk about restoring my village's rights. She was surprised when Naruto said, I own the land and all the other rights to the land, but it's still under the land of fire, but she quickly dismissed it as just another secret Naruto had kept from her. Naruto said, now, let's go around the place, and started to move randomly. We should get a map, Sakura said. Sure, Naruto replied. But how are we going to obtain it? Sasuke inquired. I dunno, we will go around, and if we find a place selling maps, we buy it, else we will continue looking around, said Naruto. First, I'd like to visit the shopping center, Sakura remarked. Well, okay, what is going to be present? Naruto inquired. Well, I always wanted to get a kimonos for the fire festival, and here happens to be the best place to get good kimonos and other clothes, Sakura replied. Well, I need formal wear, I guess I will place an order for it, Naruto replied. Sasuke said, I will just look around, and he followed the other two. They asked people where the shopping malls would be. August 22nd, 11 a.m., Kakashi materialized in front of his team in a body flicker. Yo, my cute genin, smiled Kakashi as he welcomed them. Oh, why are you here? Naruto inquired. Our mission is urgent, now pack. Before anything negative occurs, we must travel to the mission site, Kakashi said. Oh no, our trip is cut short, Sakura complained. The three of them drove quickly in the direction of the palace, and Kakashi went to the daimyo's office to let him know about his sudden departure. 11:15 a.m., the eastern border. All right, team, this mission is B ranked as well, though it could be A ranked. We're heading to the village that's buried beneath the waves. Kakashi turned around and gave the order, we will have to run at top speeds to reach there in time. Kakashi began leaping in the direction of the mission site, and the three of them followed, keeping up with his speed. In order to save energy in the event of a conflict, Naruto and Sasuke lowered their weight seals. 1:23 p.m. 3 ninjas are detected northeast of us. They're on their way to us, Naruto said. The signatures of their chakras? Kakashi inquired. Sasuke pulled out his tanto, Sakura pulled out a kunai, and Naruto pulled out his katana in response. 3 Jonin, he said. Hey, look who's here, Kakashi Hatake and a team of genin, a smirking rogue Iwa ninja exclaimed. Take a look at that brat. I can't wait to tear his throats out because he looks like the yellow Flash. An additional Iwa ninja grinned. Kakashi's eyes widened in surprise at Naruto's move, but he did as Naruto said, jumping towards the one in the middle at high speed. Sasuke, you take the one on the right, I will take care of the one in the middle, Kakashi-sensei, you take on Ishida-san for me, and Sakura, provide cover for us, Naruto said. Ishida's kunai slash was parried by Kakashi, who then leapt a few paces away, showed off his Sharingan in all its glory, and became very serious. From Kakashi's perspective, Earth style, Ishida yelled, Earth smash, as he slammed his enormous hands into the ground, causing cracks to appear all over it. As the ground cracked, Kakashi leapt away, avoiding the projectiles that emerged. Soon after, Kakashi charged Ishida while brandishing a kunai. Ishida slammed his hands down the floor after making a few hand gestures. Then an enormous number of earth spikes emerged from the earth, but Kakashi's Sharingan allowed him to avoid them. While running, Kakashi made a few hand gestures and got lightning all over his hands. Ishida yelled, oh no, you don't, while demonstrating a few hand signals. Ishida yelled, Earth style, Earth wall, and slammed his hands down, building a thick wall around himself. A moment later, Ishida leapt off the ground. Kakashi emerged from the earth with his Raikiri facing upward in a matter of milliseconds. Ishida's horrified eyes grew wide. He now understood why Kakashi is referred to as a vicious murderer. It was absolutely terrifying to look at Kakashi right now. Kakashi exhaled into a smoke cloud. He was struck in the heart by a hand covered in lightning before he could alter his flight path. From Sasuke's perspective, Sasuke revealed his Sharingan. The man exclaimed, an Uchiha. This would be fun. The man blew out a cloud of smoke after making a few hand signals. The man yelled, those eyes are useless if you can't see anything. In front of Sasuke. After circling Sasuke for about a minute in an attempt to confuse him, the man lunged at him. Sasuke, however, avoided the blow. An additional man, who appeared to be a clone, slashed Sasuke's torso with a katana. The renegade ninja screamed in agony while grinning triumphantly. You know, smirked Sasuke, there's a reason why people say, don't look at the Uchihas in their eyes. Sasuke swiftly killed the renegade ninja by charging at him. From Naruto's perspective, Naruto had succeeded in pushing his opponent a few steps away. Naruto remarked, Hoshino Reina, So you know who I am, yellow flashes bastard. Smirked Hoshino Reina. Hey, I am not a bastard, my dad and mom were married long before I was born, said Naruto. So you are his son. Scowled Hoshino Reina. Naruto said nonchalantly, why don't we make this quick? I have an urgent mission I need to get to. The man hurried at Naruto and exclaimed, TCH, don't act so high and mighty. You are just a genin. At that moment, Naruto let go of all of his seals. Naruto easily avoided the lightning ball that Hoshino Reina spewed out after making a few hand signals. Hoshino Reina muttered, easy, and then slashed Naruto's neck. Hoshino spat blood out. Gah! You fell for such a rookie trick, you went after my clone and not me, Naruto remarked as he took his katana away from Hoshino's heart. After drawing a scroll, Naruto sealed Hoshino's body. After eliminating their adversaries, Kakashi and Sasuke followed suit. My chakra is kind of running low, Kakashi remarked sheepishly. Naruto created 2 shadow clones and said, TCH, I will get a few of my clones to carry you. You need to work on your endurance, sensei. You might be perfect for fast-paced battles, but you will find yourself in a pickle if the fight draws out too long, Naruto stated. Naruto exclaimed, TCH, killing them leaves a bad taste in my mouth. We should have gotten information on how they got in, as he leapt. We had no choice, Naruto, we don't have time to interrogate them since we have an urgent mission, Kakashi stated. Sakura questioned, what are we going to face? She lacked the endurance of her teammates, so a clone of Naruto was carrying her. Well, Team 8 fought the Demon Brothers, who are said to be working with Zabuza Momochi. There is a high chance we might face him while on the mission, Kakashi stated. Sasuke questioned, isn't he an X7 swordsman of the mist? Yup, he was the second strongest among the 7. He is labeled as an S-rank threat due to his methods of assassination. He makes little to no sound while he moves, and combined with his famous hidden mist jutsu, it makes it nigh impossible to detect him, replied Kakashi. Naruto questioned, could chakra sensing work? Kakashi said gravely, nope, the mist is laced with chakra. He has it so perfected that you won't be able to distinguish his chakra from the mists. Looks like I have to use my wind style primarily in this battle, said Naruto. Kakashi inquired, how many chakra natures can you use? I can use wind, fire, earth and water. But I am not a fire type, I just learned it to combine it with wind so I could amplify the damage of the wind, Naruto answered. How far are you in their training? I mastered water and earth. I completed the first step for wind manipulation, and I haven't started practicing for fire style yet, Naruto replied. Phew, what about you, Sasuke? I know how to use lightning, fire, water and wind. My 2 primary affinities are lightning and fire, Sasuke answered. Only a handful of ninjas can pull off what you guys have. Most jonin don't even use a 3rd affinity, ya know. Kakashi said sheepishly. You have mastered all 5 natures, haven't you, sensei? Replied Naruto. Yup, I needed to do that so I can use my Sharingan more effectively, replied Kakashi. 3:12 p.m. All right, we've arrived at the coast, Naruto declared. Kakashi smiled and said, all right, everyone, consider this training. You all have to water walk all the way over to Nami no Kuni. What? But, it's too far, cried Sakura indignantly. Kakashi grinned and said, oh, come on. Don't worry about it, if you get low on chakra we will have one of Naruto's clones the rest of the way there. The distance between Nami no Kuni and Hai no Kuni's shores is about 5 kilometers, so it's gonna be a long run, Naruto stated. For the last several hours, they had been running continuously. Naruto and Sasuke were growing a little weary of running all the time because they only stopped when they had defeated the Iwa ninjas. Sensei, could we rest a bit here? We have been running non-stop for the past 4 hours at top speed. We also had to fight 3 high-class rogue ninjas on the way. Naruto was upset. Kakashi took a packet of ninja rations from the pocket of his jonin vest and said, okay, we'll take a 10-minute break. Eat some snacks to get back your energy. After finishing their snacks, they prepared for the lengthy voyage through the water. Be prepared, we might face Zabuza any moment after we arrive there, warned Kakashi. 4:32 p.m. I can sense a huge amount of water chakra, Naruto said. It's pretty amazing that he can also sense chakra natures, Kakashi reflected. Each of the four of them prepared their weapons. It's probably Zabuza. Naruto, Sasuke, you two go have some fun, but if you two get in danger, I will be stepping in, Kakashi declared while flashing his Sharingan. Naruto and Sasuke both said, "Hi," as they accelerated. Sakura, you tend to anyone who was injured, Kakashi said. Yes, sensei, she said, leaping to her feet. 4:25 p.m. Kurenai's perspective. Everyone, be careful, we might be walking into an ambush, so keep your guards up. Be silent while answering since we should not give our positions out. Hi, the genin of Team 8 muttered. Kiba was startled by the slight rustle of a nearby bush. Kiba hurled a kunai in that direction, but it struck a tree instead. There was a white rabbit beneath it. A white rabbit, it should be brown at this time of year. Kurine thought worriedly. Kurine said, Hinata, use your Byakugan, without saying a word. Her gaze expanded. Kurine yelled, everyone, get down, and dragged Tazuna along. Duck, ha 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 ha, a shadowy figure chuckled softly. When Kurine realized who it was, her eyes narrowed. Kiba moved forward, preparing a kunai. Before Kiba could get any closer, Kurine stopped him. Everyone, get back, this man is leagues above the ones we had faced before, warned Kurine. Look who's here, a newly minted genin team, and there seems to be a Hyuga in that team as well, The shadowy figure remarked. Kurine said, Zabuza Momochi, what do you want from us? The now exposed Zabuza Momochi said, I will release you and your group, Konoha-jonin, if you allow me to murder that old man. Kurine said, I am afraid that's not possible, he is our client and we won't let him get killed, understanding that Zabuza would still kill them if they allowed their client to perish. Zabuza wore a mask and grinned. He chuckled darkly and leapt to the ground, drawing his sword from the trunk. Well, don't complain when I kill all of your genin, he said. Hidden mist jutsu, he exclaimed while making a hand gesture. Who are you, you bastard? Kiba growled, his teeth clenched. From various angles, Zabuza said, oh, you want to know who I am? Why don't you tell him, Konoha-jonin? He inquired. He is Zabuza Momochi, the demon of the mist. He is an S-rank ninja who is specialized in silent assassinations. He earned his infamous reputation by creating an artificial mist around them and killing them without making any noise. The victims would die so fast that they wouldn't even realize they were dead, she continued. Oh, you missed the part where why I was called the demon of the mist, laughed Zabuza. Kiba said, huh, why were you called that? Zabuza replied, I acquired that title during my graduation ceremony. Kiba exclaimed, huh, you gained a title just by graduating. In shock. Graduation back in those days in the mist was completely different from the graduation we have. Back then, you were assigned a partner who was supposed to grow stronger and learn with you. You two will be so close that you will be like brothers or sisters, but to graduate, you should kill that person, replied Kurine. But, 18 years back, a single boy, who wasn't even a part of the academy, had entered and killed every single one of the graduating students. Just because of him, they had to stop that tradition. Kurine continued in a gloomy voice. Zabuza exclaimed, it was, so fun. With a great deal of murderous intent. Horrified, Kiba, Hinata, Shino, and their client Tazuna froze. In opposition to Zabuza, Kurenai declared her own intention to kill. Now, where should I strike? The larynx, spine, lungs, liver, subclavian artery, kidneys, or the heart? Replied Zabuza. It was difficult to tell where he was because his voice reverberated around them. Swoosh. Huh, Zabuza questioned bewilderedly. He had cut down Tazuna and the entire team, but they vanished in a puff of smoke. Gah, he cried out in agony. Behind him, Kurenai materialized, piercing Zabuza's spleen. However, water was leaking out instead of blood. Zabuza was a water clone because he transformed into a puddle of water. Kurine deflected a blow that was intended for her. She was unable to quickly prepare for the kick, though, and it sent her sailing off. She was pushed into a massive lake by another Zabuza who materialized close to her and kicked her in the abdomen. Her mouth spilt some blood. Shit, he is much stronger than me, and I underestimated him. She had a horrified thought. Why is the water so heavy, I wonder? She pondered for a moment before realizing. With a body flicker, Zabuza materialized beside her. With lightning speed, he made a prison of water around her and made a few hand signals. She yelled, "Everyone, leave. His clones can only follow you guys for a small distance. Escape while you can." But the water muffled her voice. She had only 5 minutes left before she passed out because she was gradually losing her breath. Kiba yelled, "No, we can't leave you here." "Yes, Sensei, even if we retreat, he will come back after us after he is done with you," Hinata said gravely. "Listen to your sensei, you brats." Zabuza smirked as he used the water surrounding him to make a number of water clones with a single hand gesture. While Hinata and Kiba hurried at one of Zabuza's clones, Shino launched a few bugs at him. However, they were dismissed rather quickly. The bogs were soaked by the water that Zabuza's clone spewed. "Shit, this guy is too fast and strong," Kiba yelled, clearly in pain. When he saw his condition, his puppy let out a little cry. "TCH, don't get cocky, you brats. I have killed more than you could ever imagine," grinned Zabuza. Kiba was rushed by one of his clones. Kiba was hardly able to stop the kick. Gah, Kiba agonizedly winced. Even though the clone's power was only a tenth of the creator's, it was still more than enough to compete with highly skilled Chunin. Hinata braced herself for a kick as her eyes grew wide with shock. She hit a tree after being propelled a few feet away. A few of Shino's bugs emerged from his sleeves, prepared to defend himself. Zabuza charged at Shino, intending to cut him in two, but a kunai landed in front of him before he could get close enough. Naruto said, "Hello," leaping to where his kunai was. Naruto looked at Shino and said, "I am sorry for being late." Zabuza's clone slashed Naruto and uttered the words, "HN, more Konoha brats," but before anyone could react, Naruto's katana sliced the clone in two. Don't be in a hurry, Zabuza," Naruto said, grinning calmly. A moment later Sasuke was beside him. "What are you two doing here? This guy is an S-ranked missing ninja," Kiba yelled. Naruto calmly said, "Sasuke, take care of the clones for me, please." Sasuke defeated the clones by cleaving them all with a high-speed jump. This was a huge shock to Team 8. Before Zabuza could respond, Naruto was standing in front of him, slashing at Zabuza's hand that held the water prison with a katana. Zabuza released the hand and leapt a short distance away. Kakashi entered the scene and said, "Oh come on, Zabuza, why don't you pick someone your own size? Bullying Genins is what you do now." "TCH, Kakashi, so you're here too, looks like I will have a handful to fight," Zabuza remarked, glancing at Kakashi, Sasuke, and Naruto. "No, my cute Genins are the ones you're going to face off against," Kakashi grinned. Zabuza grinned and prepared his sword. "These two are pretty fast, but do you think they can beat me?" "Speed is not everything, you know," he said. "Sakura, go heal Hinata and Kiba. They are pretty injured," Kakashi said. Sasuke leapt close to Naruto and made several hand gestures. Soon after, Naruto pursued Zabuza with a powerful gust of wind. "Fire style, hellfire," Sasuke thought and let out a dimly colored flame. The wind carried it, causing it to expand multiple times and heat up even more. Zabuza yelled, "Shit," as he leapt back, made a few hand signals, and created a massive wall of water to protect himself. Naruto charged quickly at Zabuza. Zabuza was able to push Naruto away and stop his slash. They clashed frequently, barely avoiding one another. They jumped at one another once more, but this time they couldn't get past each other. Naruto blew out a thin stream of wind and began to make a few hand signals. Zabuza jumped away, barely avoiding it. He saw the stream of wind Naruto created cutting down a few trees. What the devil is Konoha doing with Genin like them when this kid is skilled with wind jutsus? Zabuza pondered. Water style, water dragon bullet jutsu, was yelled by both of them as Zabuza began to demonstrate a few hand signals and Sasuke quickly began to follow them with his Sharingan. Behind them, two enormous water dragons formed and bounded toward one another, canceling each other out. Zabuza leapt behind Naruto as he rushed at him, but he had to sidestep to avoid a barrage of fireballs aimed at him from his right. However, this made him unprepared, which made it simple for Naruto to exploit him. Naruto barely missed the spleen when he slashed at Zabuza. Grr, Zabuza moaned in agony. However, he had succeeded in kicking Naruto back. He leapt a couple of steps away from the two. Zabuza yelled, "Water style, water bullet," while directing rapid water jets at Naruto and Sasuke with a single hand gesture. They both narrowly avoided the bullets. Sasuke countered it by eradicating the remaining water bullets with a fireball. Zabuza chased after Naruto. Naruto performed a series of hand signals before exclaiming, "Water style. Water destruction wave." Zabuza was knocked unconscious when the water wave pushed him in the direction of a tree. However, a few Senbon hit Zabuza's neck before Naruto could murder him. A figure wearing a mist Anbu mask leapt close to Zabuza's corpse. "Thank you for defeating Zabuza. I was tasked with killing him, but he was simply too strong for me," the ninja in the mask said. Kakashi appeared close to Naruto and said, "Are you a hunter nin?" He said, "Yes," while carrying Zabuza's body. After saying, "Thank you," again, he left in a body flicker. Naruto sighed, "Damn, that took a lot out of me." Sasuke didn't appear any better. Zabuza was strong and quick, so they had to exert a lot of effort. In order to counter Zabuza's strength, they had to pump chakra into themselves. "Tazuna-san, please show the way to your house. We have to rest after our long journey," said Kakashi. Tazuna nodded, his face displaying shock. "Hey, Hinata-chan, are you alright?" Naruto approached her carefully. "I am fine, Sakura-san healed me well," Hinata smiled in response. "Whoa, you two actually beat him," Kiba exclaimed, startled and a little jealous. "Kakashi, how are they so strong? You have had them for just over a month, and they are already clashing against S-ranked ninjas." Kurine exclaimed in disbelief. "Well, they were strong to begin with. I just taught them something extra here and there," replied Kakashi. "Thank you, Naruto-san, Sasuke-san, for coming to help us," Shino said, glancing at the two. "Don't worry, Shino, we are comrades," Naruto said, putting his arm around Sasuke's shoulders. Sasuke uttered, a little uneasy. Sakura put an arm on Naruto's chest and said, "Wait, you two. Let me check on you two before we move." After a minute, she did the same for Sasuke. "Both of your muscles are sore. The muscles on your legs and arms even have some chakra burns due to rushing high amounts of chakra there," Sakura stated. "Yeah, I know. No matter how good my control is, this problem happens if I keep on using it for a long period of time or if I overexert myself," said Naruto. Sakura gave a firm, "You two must take a rest for at least 2 days." statement. Naruto gave in, not wanting to argue with Sakura. "Alright," he said. Naruto was accompanied by Hinata, who assisted him in walking. Naruto said, "Gee, thanks, Hinata-chan," in gratitude. Her response was, "It's fine, Naruto-kun. Hang on, when did this happen?" Sakura was shocked to see Naruto and Hinata getting along so well. According to her recollection, Hinata was once extremely cruel and icy during spars. Sakura approached Sasuke and assisted him in walking. When Kiba saw what was happening in front of him, his eyes twitched. 6:31 p.m. "This is my home," declares Tazuna. "Tsunami, open the door," he yelled as he knocked on the door. A stunning woman in her mid-20s opened the door and gave Tazuna a hug a few seconds later. She exclaimed, "Thank God you are safe," before crying. Pointing to the 8 ninjas, Tazuna exclaimed, "Thank these ninjas for keeping me safe." "Oh, sorry, I was so worried about my father that I didn't introduce myself." "I am Tsunami," she replied. As Kurine explained, "Oh, it's okay, we are the Konoha ninjas that your father hired." She motioned for them to enter, saying, "Please, come in, I will help set up your rooms." "Grandpa," exclaimed a young boy as he rushed to give Tazuna a hug. Tazuna remarked, "Oh, this is my grandson, Inari. Inari, greet them. They will protect Grandpa till he finishes the bridge," said Tsunami. "You should get out of here before Gato kills you," Inari exclaimed as she dashed into the house. "Inari," Tsunami yelled in vain. They were shown to their rooms by her. While Kiba and Shino had to share a room with Tazuna, Naruto, Sasuke, and Kakashi were sharing a room. Sakura, Hinata, and Kurine shared a room close to Tsunami's. From Kakashi's perspective, Kakashi gave the order, "Everyone, after unpacking everything, come to my room, we will be having a meeting there," as he made his way to his room. After unpacking, everyone went into Kakashi's room. Kiba looked at Kakashi and said, "So, what do you want to talk about, Kakashi-sensei?" Naruto questioned, "Is it about Zabuza still being alive?" "What do you mean by that? That ninja clearly killed him," replied Kiba. "But did you notice what he struck Zabuza with? They were Senbon." They are used for acupuncture and are primarily used to paralyze during battle, Sakura clarified. Yes, another thing is that Hunter Ninja didn't follow the standard Hunter Ninja protocol. He should have gotten rid of the body on the spot, but instead of doing that, he carried Zabuza's heavy body and fled, said Naruto. Exactly, expressed Kurine. Senbon is rarely used to kill. It's simply too difficult, and often, it's not worth using, Kakashi stated. Kiba said, so what? We can beat him like we did today. In response, the man we are facing is Gato, a person who is like the top 10 richest people alive. He can easily hire 10 more ninjas like Zabuza within a few days, replied Naruto. What? Exclaimed Sakura and Kiba in horror. Hinata's shocked eyes grew wide. TCH, this mission is very weird. A C-ranked mission turns into an A- ranked, and it could possibly be a high S-ranked mission now, Naruto said with a scowl. Sasuke went on to say, and all of this is to protect a man and his bridge. At that, everyone nodded. After recovering, everyone should start training intensively. The threats we might face will be huge, so it doesn't hurt to be prepared, Kakashi stated. Kurine gave a nod. Kurine, why did you continue with this mission? You knew someone like Zabuza would show up eventually when you faced the demon brothers. Kakashi responded in a serious manner. I didn't expect the situation to escalate so quickly. And we couldn't just abandon our first mission outside the village since it would give us a bad reputation, she said. There is no point in talking about this here. The Hokage will resolve this matter when we get back to the village, said Naruto. Now, we should talk about splitting responsibilities. We need to create a schedule which is different each day so our enemies won't be able to know about our routine, Naruto stated. Kakashi gave that a nod. I will draw it up with Kurine. For now, Hinata and Naruto will be guarding the house till dinner time, Kakashi stated. With a nod, Naruto and Hinata departed. Kakashi dismissed everyone except Kurine, saying, all of you are dismissed for now. Rest up, because tomorrow won't be pretty. I know most of you are injured, but we don't have the time to lie around. From Naruto's perspective, as they left the house to keep an eye out for danger, Naruto grinned and said, so, it's been a while, Hinata. Hinata returned the greeting. Yes, Naruto-kun, it's been a whole week since we last saw each other. While Naruto created a few clones to stand watch, Hinata activated her Byakugan to keep an eye out for any threats. Saying, I never knew you were this strong, Hinata frowned at him. When you're hated as much as I was, hiding is the only way to survive. If they knew how strong I was, they'd have been even more afraid of me, Naruto said with a slight scowl. Being a Jinchuriki really does suck, Hinata said, frowning slightly. Yup, Naruto answered. Why did the Yundaime choose you to carry the burden though? She inquired. Hehe, if you find it out before we make it back to Konoha, I will take you somewhere special. I may even tell you everything about me, Naruto grinned. TCH, she said, a little annoyed by Naruto's response. You know, I envy the fact that you have a fast healing factor. Look at you, you are already healed from the battle you had with Zabuza. No scratches and the chakra burns have faded, said Hinata. Naruto laughed and leaned closely to her face in response. That just comes out with being a Jinchuriki, he said. Yo, what are you doing instead of guarding the house? Kakashi asked, causing them to separate just before they could kiss. Naruto grumbled, TCH, why did you have to ruin our mood, sensei? Oh, come on, Naruto, you're on duty, Kakashi said, grinning. Since you are here, I want to ask you how proficient you are with sealing. I want a proper area covered by a barrier to train with the Nine Tails chakra, replied Naruto. You are going to train with the Nine Tails chakra here, Hinata exclaimed, startled. It's away from Konoha, so there won't be anyone I need to worry about watching me. And with a proper barrier, we won't alert the villagers here, said Naruto. Hinata frowned in response. I still don't like that you are planning on training with its chakra this early, she said. Naruto narrowed his eyes and said, by using a small portion of its chakra, I can increase my power to the point where I can compete with more experienced ninjas on my own. This seal will also make sure I won't overuse the chakra, so unless I overextend myself, I will be fine, said Naruto. As they conversed, Kakashi simply turned his head to the right and left, a little taken aback by Hinata's awareness of Naruto's Jinchuriki status. Alright, I do know how to use barrier jutsu, but I am not that good at it, Kakashi replied. I just need you to help me create a barrier in a clearing and watch over me while I use the Nine Tails chakra, replied Naruto. Alright, Naruto, I will train you with it once I complete assigning your teammates, training regimens, replied Kakashi. Thanks, sensei, Naruto grinned in response. 8:20 p.m. Tsunami said, dinner is ready, and brought rice and fish. Everyone exclaimed, thank you for the food, and began to eat. Hey, old man, how long will you be building the bridge for? Replied Naruto. It will take about 3 months, assuming my helpers and I don't get attacked, replied Tazuna. That's quite the long time frame. But I can't really complain since it's a bridge and all, replied Naruto. Don't worry, old man. We will protect you till the bridge gets built, exclaimed Kiba with great enthusiasm. Shut up, whimpered Inari. You all act as if you are some heroes. There are no heroes in this world. Inari sighed. You don't know what pain means. All you guys are going to do is get yourselves killed. Gato is too strong. Nobody can ever cross his path. Inari yelled. Is that it? Answered Naruto. The poor boy froze. Don't act like a whiny brat. Look at you, every day you get 3 square meals. Do you know how other kids your age are living outside this house? Of course not. You probably never left this house. Kids your age are barely scraping by, eating scraps every day. Your grandfather is risking his life, trying to provide a better life for his people and you, but all you do is whine around. People like you are pathetic, only know how to complain about the problem and not do anything about it, Naruto yelled. Inari started crying and fled to his room. There was silence at the entire table. Naruto remarked as he left, I don't like it here anymore, so I'm going out. Soon after, Sasuke scowled and followed him out. When the boy admitted that he had no idea what pain meant, his mood soured considerably. Sasuke caught up to Naruto and asked, what are you going to do? Naruto said, I am going to catch some fish and roast it here, as he approached a dock and removed his fishing gear from his survival gear scroll. From Kakashi's perspective, Kiba, bewildered and furious, questioned, what's gotten into Naruto? When the boy yelled aloud that he didn't understand pain, he became somewhat enraged. But he was perplexed by Naruto's somber response. Naruto had a bad past. Have you ever noticed why most people avoided him? All the civilian kids from our class stayed away from him, only interacting during group projects and alike, since it was required, replied Hinata. Kiba blinked several times as he tried to recall how people had treated Naruto in the past. But, he seemed all happy and go-lucky in the academy. Replied Kiba. That was most likely a response to get attention. When you receive no attention, getting bad attention would feel better than no attention, replied Shino. At that, everyone in the dining hall scowled. August 23rd. 7:30 a.m. In a small clearing encircled by trees stood Kakashi and the genins of teams 7 and 8. Hinata questioned, why is Kurenai-sensei not here with us? She is still recovering from the previous day's battle. She has a mild case of chakra exhaustion and a lot of bruises, replied Kakashi. Kakashi asked the genin of Team 8, now, let's get to training. How far are you all in chakra control? As both Shino and Hinata responded, I know water walking. I can do tree walking, Kiba replied. Alright, Kiba, you should work on water walking. Sakura and Shino, you two will be working in taijutsu. You both are the most vulnerable in a hand-to-hand combat since both of you are long-range support. Hinata, you should train in using a few long-range ninjutsu. This can surprise your enemy since they would expect you to use taijutsu mainly, Kakashi stated. All 4 of them gave a nod. Sasuke, you should continue what you were doing previously. I will be going to train Naruto, said Kakashi. Hey, that's unfair. How come Naruto gets to hog Kakashi-sensei's time? He is already crazy strong. Kiba was upset. TCH, shut up, Kiba, Sasuke said, glaring at Kiba while using his Sharingan. Kiba wisely kept his mouth shut. Water walking is similar to tree walking, but you need to fluctuate your chakra with respect to the change in the flow of water you are on top of, Kakashi said with a sigh. With a nod, Kiba headed for the neighboring pond. From Naruto's perspective, this clearing is pretty far away and is big enough for your training, Kakashi stated. Naruto pulled out some ink and chakra paper tags. Naruto handed a seal and 4 chakra paper tags to Kakashi and said, Sensei, this is the seal you should write down. Naruto said, I need you to copy it with the Sharingan so it will be perfect, building 3 shadow clones in the process. Naruto's reserves of chakra fell precipitously. I used most of my chakra creating those three. They will help you suppress me if things go wrong, Naruto said, passing a paper tag bearing the kanji for contain. Kakashi followed instructions and nodded. In order to allow Naruto unrestricted training, he positioned the barrier seals 200 meters apart. Naruto attempted to extract the Nine Tails chakra while seated in a meditative position. The mind of Naruto, he whispered, where am I? Naruto made the decision to take a stroll, investigating the area he was in and attempting to locate himself. After exploring for a few minutes, he found himself in a massive area that resembled a labyrinth. A massive cage stood before him. It was completely dark behind the bars, so he couldn't see anything beyond it. A sizable chakra reserve was visible to Naruto directly behind the bars. He instantly recognized whose chakra it was. Hello, Nine Tails, Naruto said. From the shadows emerged a massive red eye with slitted pupils. When the Nine Tails returned the greeting, "Grr. Welcome, Warden." A massive row of white, pointed teeth was visible when another red eye opened. The Nine Tails displayed the full splendor of its powerful body. "What brings you here today?" smirked the Nine Tails. "I am training in using your chakra. I need to borrow some of it," said Naruto. "Oh, so bold as to come right in front of me to demand something. I must say, you are among the few who dared to do that," the Nine Tails grinned in response. "I am not here to demand anything, I am just here for what I am owed. Don't forget, if it weren't for me, you would still be controlled by that man," Naruto replied with widened eyes. He clawed at the bars of the jail and yelled, "What did you say, you brat?" The Nine Tails let out a great volume of murderous intent as it growled, "You insolent brat. Just wait until I get out of here. I will rip you and everyone you care about to shreds." Naruto frowned. The Nine Tails yelled, "You want my chakra, right? Let's see if you can handle this," and let out a massive amount of chakra. However, the majority of it was blocked because of the seal. However, Naruto was unable to control the enormous volume of chakra that was released on his first attempt. The real world. One of the clones yelled, "Ah, shit. The boss's chakra is going haywire. Everyone get ready." Fear made Kakashi's pupil shrink. He was reminded of unpleasant memories by that chakra. He prepared for anything by revealing his Sharingan. Using a series of hand signals, another clone exclaimed, "Sensei. Please distract the boss, we need time to counter him," and began writing something on his palm. Kakashi barely avoided Naruto's charge. "Earth style, mud wall," exclaimed Kakashi after demonstrating a few hand signals. He blocked Naruto's blow by launching a massive wall of mud. Naruto's slash was briefly stopped by it. Kakashi had enough time to launch a counterattack. He kicked Naruto hard in the head, causing him to take a few steps back. The chakra cloak began to fade. Naruto made the ram seal by firmly placing his hands in that position. As a result, the intensity of the chakra cloak was further reduced. Naruto declared, "Damn, that fox pushed a shit ton of chakra onto me," after regaining consciousness. Kakashi was panting from pain and effort. He had to exert all of his physical strength. Naruto's nearly unnatural speed was greatly increased by the Nine Tails chakra. To stay ahead and avoid being struck, Kakashi had to pump a lot of chakra into his arms and legs. Kakashi questioned, "What happened?" "Well, the Nine Tails got pretty mad, so he and I had a mad shouting match, which got me pretty mad, losing control for a second, which let him surge a huge amount of chakra than usual," said Naruto. "Plus, I never used this chakra, so it took me some time to get control over it," Naruto went on. With a drop of perspiration, Kakashi remarked, "That chakra gave you an insane power boost, you nearly killed me." "Yup, even now, I feel so powerful. The chakra running through me is enough for me to keep fighting at my maximum capability for hours on end," Naruto exclaimed in amazement. When Kakashi said, "I won't be much of a match," then, he smiled. Naruto jokingly said, "Don't worry, Sensei, I am pretty sure I can whoop you back to shape," before assuming his stance. Kakashi trailed behind and assumed his position. 11:30 a.m. They both walked out of the clearing. With their remaining chakra, Naruto's clones had done some damage control so that nobody would be aware of what had occurred. "Yo," Kakashi said. Kakashi's arms and torso were covered in several bandages. Naruto's arms and legs were also covered in bandages. Kiba remarked, "You guys look like you went to war and came back. What happened to you guys?" Sakura cried out in terror. As the team's medic, She was concerned because both of them appeared to be quite bruised. "Don't worry, we were just sparring," Naruto said casually as he expelled her. Sakura simply sighed and began examining Kakashi to see if he was hurt. 4:30 p.m. Naruto frowned and remarked, "TCH, I wasn't able to find their hideout." Kakashi placed a hand on his chin and remarked, "Well, that complicates things because they must not be in the village." Sakura said, "Then what do we do?" "I'd say we help the bridge builder build his bridge so our job can get over quickly," Sasuke said. Only a fraction of the bridge was constructed. It will take at least 3 months for them to complete the construction. "We won't be really helping them much," replied Sakura. "Finding that little pig and killing him would get the job done, but his location is unknown right now, he may be anywhere in the world." "All we could do was play the waiting game," said Naruto. Kurenai frowned and said, "TCH, the village is still pretty short-staffed. They won't send any reinforcements to us." The situation worsened following the Uchiha massacre and the Nine-Tails attack. Even now, the ninja forces are being overworked to keep their status as the top village in order to boost the client's confidence. "All we can do is prepare for the worst here." Everyone gave Kakashi's words a solemn nod. September 21st, 8 p.m. Naruto said wearily, "I'm going to sleep in today." In order to increase his speed, he had been rushing his training. He didn't want to rely too much on chakra to increase his speed because if the battle dragged on, it would only cause more damage. Additionally, he had worn the Nine-Tails chakra cloak for a long time today, which left him exhausted both mentally and physically. In order to get faster, Sasuke also trained with him. Both of them are far stronger now than they were in the past. During their training, Sasuke and Naruto each got a small power boost. Although he had to work harder to enhance his chakra control, Naruto was able to boost his reserves by frequently accessing the Nine-Tailed Fox's chakra. Sasuke learned from Kakashi how to increase his reflex speed by using lightning chakra. Utilizing even a tiny quantity of lightning chakra could speed up signal transmission throughout the body and improve cell reaction times. Additionally, Kakashi worked on his endurance by running around Nami no Kuni several times with Naruto and Sasuke. Due to his constant practice, he was able to significantly improve his stamina. "TCH, you hit really badly," Sasuke remarked, squirming. The blonde had given him a powerful punch that sent him flying a few meters. Hinata worriedly said, "You three should take it easy," as she supported Naruto by holding onto his shoulder. Sakura followed suit with Sasuke, but she remained silent since she was aware that her counsel would be disregarded. These kids really did grow strong very fast, Kakashi thought, grinning. "Ma, don't worry, Hinata, your boyfriend will be up and ready by tomorrow. He just needs to rest a bit," Kakashi responded. September 22nd, 11:20 a.m. "Damn," Naruto stretched out and yawned. "I slept more than half a day," Naruto exclaimed, startled. He hurried to the restroom and completed his morning routine. Putting on his shinobi attire, he descended. "Yo," Naruto said. "Good morning, Naruto-kun. Your team has already left to guard my father over at the bridge," said Tsunami. Naruto said, "Thank you for informing, Tsunami-san," and walked out the door. After saying, "Oh, wait, I still have some leftover from breakfast, please have some," Tsunami went to the kitchen. Naruto said, "Oh, that's not necessary, Tsunami-san, I already have something to eat with me," and walked away. Naruto had jumped trees pretty quickly, opening his senses to see if any enemies were in the area. In the direction of Tezuna's home, he saw 2 chakra signatures that were roughly low genin. So he quickly turned around and began running in the direction of Tezuna's house. From Inari's perspective, oh my god, there was a woman's high-pitched scream. When Inari realized it was his mother, he hurried down to investigate. Tsunami was apprehended by 2 thugs and hauled out of the house. After giving it some quick thought, Inari headed for the kitchen. She yelled, "Inari, run!" As soon as Inari emerged from the door, Inari yelled, "Hey, leave my mom alone," while brandishing a kitchen knife. His tears streaming down his cheeks washed away whatever menacing expression he might have had. One of the thugs emerged with his katana and walked slowly toward Inari. "Look who's here, a little brat. Lord Gato told us to have only one hostage, right? Then he won't mind us practicing our sword skills with the old geezer's grandson," he said. "No, please, don't hurt him," Tsunami cried out in terror. The thug approached Inari, but his arm was neatly severed before he could brandish his sword. Tsunami was being held captive by a thug whose head was detached from his shoulder. Naruto put his hand on the shoulder of the thug who had lost his arm and remarked, it appears that I am right on time. The man yelled, my arm, and ran back. His eyes were filled with horror as he stumbled and fell, staring at Naruto. Tsunami, this scene won't look good. Take him to the village and rally all the villagers. It appears that Gato has come out to play, Naruto grinned. Inari was swiftly taken away by the tsunami. Naruto said, now, tell me what Gato plans on doing today. The man said uneasily, he hired a bunch of missing ninjas from Kiri and Iwa to kill the ninjas Tazuna hired. Naruto cut the man's throat cleanly in response. Thanks for the intel, he said. While traveling to the bridge, he created a few clones to get rid of the body. From Kakashi's perspective, Kakashi's eyes narrowed as he said, everyone, be on guard, the mist covering the bridge is not ordinary. Grr, a person on the ground moaned in agony. What happened? Tazuna exclaimed in concern. A demon beat us all up. He painstakingly replied, just before he fainted. There was a deep laugh coming from all sides. You took your sweet time, Zabuza, Kakashi remarked, displaying his Sharingan. Zabuza laughed and remarked, Kakashi, the legendary copycat ninja, looks like you are coming out to play. Are you really that famous, Kakashi-sensei? Kiba responded. Hee-hee-ha-ha. When I was still in Kiri, he was known to be a ruthless killer. They said that no one who had seen his Sharingan never lived to see another day, replied Zabuza. He was known as the copycat ninja because he had copied over 1,000 jutsu. He was ranked pretty high, with a bounty of 13 million ryo. Other villages like Iwa and Kumo probably have higher bounties because of what his sensei had done, Zabuza joked. Kiba questioned, perplexed, what does his sensei have to do with his bounty? Kakashi, you didn't tell those brats who your sensei was. Well, FYI, that man was hated in Kumo because he had humiliated their now fourth Raikage during the Third Great Ninja War. And he was hated even more in Iwa because he had killed over 1,000 ninjas within seconds. Revealed Zabuza. Hinata responded, Kakashi-sensei. Your sensei was the fourth Hokage. With a start. Zabuza said, bingo, and his voice echoed around them. So, Zabuza, did you bring your little friend over here to help you out? Kakashi inquired. Oh, he is here all right, he is strong enough to wipe the floor with that blonde brat, Zabuza replied. From Kakashi's perspective, less talking, more fighting, grinned Kakashi. Kakashi and Zabuza hurried toward one another. Hinata and the masked ninja hurried toward one another. Midway through, Sasuke, who was pursuing Hinata, was halted by a slash that almost severed his head. The man smirked and exclaimed, look at that. An Uchiha. Beside him, another leapt. Sasuke said, watch out. More enemy ninjas. According to one of them, wind style. Wind pressure blast, while demonstrating a few hand signals. Fight style. Fireball jutsu. Sasuke countered with a single-handed gesture. The fireball was enlarged and moving in the direction of the two. However, the other ninja created a massive wave of water that blocked it. The steam from that attack was hot, and Sasuke leapt away from it. He had to lose his mind right now because of how dense the mist was. At most, he could see 10 meters ahead of him. A ninja yelled, water style. Water wave jutsu. After going through a few hand signals, Sasuke threw a large amount of mud, forming a substantial mud wall. He leapt away, barely avoiding a blow. The mist surrounding the enemy nin's blade was pushed back, he saw. On his blades, he is applying his wind chakra. I must exercise caution, Sasuke thought. Kurenai's perspective, clang. A kunai was on her way, but Kurenai had blocked it. Be careful, more ninjas from the enemy. TCH, Kurenai muttered to herself, it appears that Zabuza brought backup for this fight. Hehehehe, look who is here, a sly ninja with a scratched tacky headband said. The man hurried toward Kurenai and remarked, looks like I will be having some fun before I kill the bridge builder. Kurine released a massive plume of purple smoke as he performed a few hand signals. The man yelled, TCH, do you think you can defeat me with that poison mist? And made a few hand gestures before blasting a massive fire plume to drive the mist away. She tossed some kunai. One stabbed the man, but the others avoided him. Without protest, he drew the kunai. The attack caused little damage, as evidenced by the tiny amount of blood that leaked out. Only the area where Kakashi and Sasuke were fighting had a denser mist than the area where they were standing. After making a few hand signals, the man yelled, "Fire style! Flame blast!" and thrust his arm forward. Several balls of flame erupted from there and detonated close to Kurenai. One made it to Tazuna and detonated. The man grinned and remarked, "Ha, that was quite easy." Clang! A mist ninja wearing a scratched forehead protector said, "You got cocky, Ritsuki," deflecting Kurenai's kunai slash that would have killed the renegade Taki ninja. "When did? Grr, that was a genjutsu," Ritsuki yelled, immediately leaping back. Kurenai leapt back a few steps to make room so she could see who her opponent was this time. More outlaw ninjas. It just got more difficult. Gritting her teeth, she thought. "Lightning style, lightning claws," exclaimed the recently emerged rogue mist ninja, covering a few hand signals with lightning. Kurenai exclaimed, "Fire style, fireball jutsu," before demonstrating a few hand signals and extinguishing some fire to drive the adversary ninja away. "They are both obviously Jonin, so I can't fight them for very long. Not only could I defeat one of them, but two. There isn't a strong person available at the moment. I can't ask those three for assistance." She thought, there might be more ninjas in hiding who might attack if he is left vulnerable. She used a few hand signals to slightly distort the area where she was standing, making it more difficult for them to target her. From Naruto's perspective, I'm able to detect 9 additional high-level chakra signatures that I'm unaware of. Naruto changed his course slightly and thought, I have to tend to the one who is hiding. Slowly drawing his katana, he materialized directly behind the ninja watching the action on the bridge. The ninja was rendered unconscious when Naruto struck his neck with the back end of his katana. While traveling to the bridge, he created a clone to look after the renegade ninja. "That's a lot of mist, damn it," Naruto pondered. Because the mist effectively obscured his senses, he was unable to determine the locations of Kakashi, Sasuke, and Hinata. He blew out a huge gust of wind after going through a few hand signals. To everyone's surprise, a great deal of the mist was lifted. "Looks like the brat is here now," Zabuza remarked. Naruto first headed for the massive ice dome. He punched it forcefully after charging a portion of the Nine Tails chakra into his hand. The ice mirror broke in an instant. Hinata had to use Kaiten several times to block all the needles, so she was seen huffing out with effort. Naruto casually said, "That's enough," while holding the masked ninja's hand. The ninja in the mask exclaimed, "But, how? You shouldn't have been able to catch me." With wide eyes. "Don't get ahead of yourself, TCH. I can use that jutsu almost as quickly as you can." Naruto punched the masked ninja hard, shattering the mask covering his face and rendering him unconscious. "Now, it's high time that I put you to sleep," he said. "You ought to hold him back, Hina. I'll go assist Kurenai in the interim," Naruto declared, leaping in Kurenai's direction. From Kakashi's perspective, "What did you say? Your accomplice will be far superior to my genin." Kakashi grinned and joked, "Looks like my cute genin beat your student without breaking a sweat." Zabuza negated Kakashi's Sharingan by partially recreating the mist. Once more, they were engaged in the waiting game, with Kakashi poised to dodge at any moment as Zabuza struck. Even though Kakashi leapt back, the Kubikiribocho still slashed him. Taking a scroll from his jacket, Kakashi opened it and wiped some of the blood that was dripping from his body across the paper. "Hey, Zabuza, why don't we just stop playing around and finish this up? We're busy." "Kakashi, what do you mean?" From a variety of angles, Zabuza's rough and curious voice could be heard. Kakashi then slammed his hands on the ground after going over a few hand signals. Tracking Fang Jutsu, summoning, Earth style, he thought. Zabuza was effectively rendered incapable of fighting when a dog emerged from the ground and bit his foot. Before he could kick it away, another dog bit his other leg, and several more emerged and bit his hands. "Oh my god," Zabuza's yell was audible. "Kakashi, looks like I win. Grr, I'll finish this quickly. I may be well known to you for having copied more than 1,000 ninjutsus. However, I'll show you something I made myself." Kakashi yelled while demonstrating a few hand signals. "Chidori," Kakashi yelled. There were several lightning sparks emerging from a visible form of chakra on his right palm. The attack was quite loud, producing a massive screeching sound. His chakra is so powerful that it could be seen with the naked eye. Zabuza thought, horrified. With the intention of piercing Zabuza through the chest, Kakashi charged at him. From Sasuke's perspective, TCH, the fog has dissipated. Now that everything was clearly visible, Sasuke recognized the ninjas as rogue Iwa ninjas after one of them yelled. "HN, looks like it's your bad day," Sasuke remarked while making a few hand gestures. "Chidori," Sasuke yelled, sprinting over to pierce one of them through the chest. Bleg, he spat out a large amount of blood. An enraged Iwa ninja launched an attack at Sasuke, who swiftly sidestepped it. After drawing his tanto and deflecting another blow, which caused him to recoil a little, Sasuke used that momentum to retreat even farther, blowing out a large amount of water that was lying nearby and going through a few hand signals. He swiftly followed it up by electrocuting his opponent with the lightning fang jutsu. Sasuke was able to attack the enemy because the Iwa ninja were momentarily paralyzed. He slashed the Iwa ninja from shoulder to heart while covering his tanto with wind chakra to prevent himself from being electrocuted. Pulling his tanto from the man's body with some difficulty, Sasuke thought, "Damn, that guy actually covered his whole body with earth chakra. He was one tough, crazy bastard to slash through." From Naruto's perspective, he had killed the Kiri ninja and rendered the Taki ninja helpless. "Well, only Zabuza is left," Naruto remarked as he considered whether to assist or let Kakashi handle the situation. He witnessed Kakashi use the Chidori to charge Zabuza before stopping in midair. Naruto said, "Looks like they came out to play," glancing past Zabuza and Kakashi. When Naruto created a few clones, they immediately scattered in various directions. "Hehehehe, Momochi Zabuza, look at you." They reduced the great demon of the mist to a wet, terrified kitten. "I was aware that I couldn't rely on you ninjas to complete the task. All of you are too costly," a short, bushy-haired man yelled. Naruto appeared beside Kakashi using the body flicker jutsu. "What does this mean?" Zabuza yelled. "Zabuza, I never intended to pay you. Your price is excessively high," Gato answered. Kakashi released me. Your client is no longer in danger from me." With a homicidal glare at Gato, Zabuza spoke. The dogs were allowed to return to their domain by Kakashi. Naruto uttered, "I need Gato alive." Kakashi pulled out a kunai and remarked, "Then we'll just kill the rest." Sasuke leapt next to him, preparing for the impending massacre. Gato was prevented from leaving the scene by a few clones that leapt from the incomplete side of the bridge. Zabuza, Kakashi, Sasuke, and Naruto sprinted in the direction of the gang. The scene was a veritable massacre. Gato had learned his lesson. Ninjas were far superior to street thugs and bandits, and more than 100 of his thugs were dead, missing limbs, organs, and even their heads. "Please, I'll spare you. I'll give you anything you desire." "Cash, women?" quickly asked. Gato fell on his ass and yelled. "Oh, please, I have plenty of money." Lifting Gato by his suit, Naruto said, "No, I want to take you around for a spin, somewhere nice and quiet where we two could talk without any interference." Naruto flickered his body and vanished. Unknown location in a forest of Nami no Kuni. "Tell me, no one is here. What brings you to Nami no Kuni?" With a hint of murderous intent, Naruto inquired. "To traffic drugs and slaves," Gato urinated. Naruto kicked Gato hard in the stomach. "Don't tell lies. The money you make from your actual business is far greater than the money you make from selling people and drugs." Naruto frowned as he spoke. "Avoid hitting me. I'll tell. It's due to the excellent coal deposits that are found here. It is currently the largest coal vein discovered on Earth." Gato raised his hands defensively in response. Interesting," Naruto grinned. "There is another thing I want you to do." At the bridge, Naruto said, "Yo, I am back," as he noticed a large group of villagers standing at the bridge's entrance, each holding a crossbow and brandishing a variety of makeshift weapons. "Gato, where are you?" Kakashi inquired. Naruto casually answered, From what I know, one of my clones placed him 6 feet under some ditch." "What does that mean?" "We're saved," Chizuna exclaimed in surprise and relief. When the villagers heard that, they all yelled and applauded, hailing Naruto and the other ninjas as heroes. "So, what are your plans, Zabuza?" Naruto asked, glancing at Zabuza. "I've heard that Kiri is still involved in a civil war. I'm pretty sure you and your son don't want to be on the run any longer. So why not join Konoha?" Son, that brat is not my son. He is nothing but my tool," Zabuza angrily retorted. "Naruto-kun, please don't confuse yourself. I am nothing but his tool," the hunter ninja said without a mask. Naruto narrowed his eyes and said, Is that what you think, Zabuza? You only think of him as a tool. Yeah, we ninjas are nothing but tools for our respective villages and leaders. We ninjas are all used and thrown away as they please. Zabuza replied. Well, Haku looks up to you as a precious person. That day we met in the clearing, I knew you were the hunter ninja the moment I sensed you. The precious person whom you wholeheartedly wanted to protect was Zabuza, wasn't it? Last I checked, a weapon shouldn't be able to think for itself, but he wholeheartedly believed and lived for you. He followed you to near death because he cares for you. And don't you dare lie about you thinking of him as nothing but a weapon. I saw the way you looked worried when I knocked him out. It was not a worry about yourself being on the losing side, but a look of a person who might lose something precious. A tear trickled down Zabuza's cheek as Naruto spoke. He had repressed his feelings and pushed Haku to the edge for the last 10 years. He now appreciated the time they spent together and realized that he had trained Haku so hard out of genuine affection rather than merely as a tool. With tears streaming down his face, Zabuza looked at Haku and said, Bat, shut up, your words cut deeper than any kunai. Haku also began to cry as he looked at Zabuza. The house of Tazuna, Kakashi, Kurenai, and Naruto were standing around the room, while Sasuke, Hinata, Zabuza, and Haku were seated. Downstairs, the other two guarded Tazuna. So, Zabuza, would you like to join the Leaf? I can convince the old man to let you both join, Naruto replied. Brat, I am a missing ninja who tried to kill the Mizukage. I don't think the Leaf would like someone who tried to assassinate a Kage to join the village, Zabuza responded. The Hokage knows why you did that. You were trying to overthrow a tyrant who was ruining the mist. Your act was honorable, Yano, replied Naruto. Naruto is correct. The Hokage will probably put you under probation for a few months and let you join the ranks. As for the boy, he will have his probationary period as just a month before he can choose what he could join, Kakashi stated. TCH, fine, I will join Konoha. But there better not be any funny business, brat, replied Zabuza. Naruto replied, I'll make sure you two don't suffer any harm while we're there. Naruto realized that he and his group had not introduced themselves to Zabuza and Haku. Oh, I forgot to introduce myself, I am Naruto Uzumaki, a genin of the Leaf, he said. I am Kakashi Hatake, you already know that, Kakashi declared. I am Kurenai Yuhi, a jonin of the Leaf, Kurenai declared. I am Sasuke Uchiha, a genin of the Leaf, inscribed Sasuke. I am Hinata Hyuga, a genin of the Leaf, Hinata declared. I am Haku Yuki, Haku informed him. I am Zabuza Momochi, a missing ninja from the mist, Zabuza grinned in response. That ice jutsu of yours was impressive, but it drained your chakra a lot, Naruto remarked, glancing at Haku. Yuki, interesting. Yes, I am the last of my clan, all of the others were wiped out, Haku scowled in response. Naruto answered, looks like there are 3 of us who are the last of our clans. Haku questioned, you are from a clan. I am an Uzumaki, Naruto grinned in response. Zabuza recognized Naruto's appearance and exclaimed, an Uzumaki. But, you don't have any bright red hair or purple eyes. You have bright blonde hair and blue eyes. Hey, I am an Uzumaki by blood, not by looks, since my dad's handsomeness was passed down to me, Naruto grinned in response. Wow, your resemblance to that man is super uncanny. Now that I look at you, you just give me the chills, replied Zabuza. Ha 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 ha, Naruto exclaimed. Zabuza smirked and remarked, I mean, just get rid of the whiskers and give him a sharper jaw, you would get who his father is. You are correct, Sasuke answered. Hinata's expression remained bewildered. Haku seemed perplexed by what was going on at the time as well. After their meeting, he made the decision to ask Zabuza who Naruto's father was in order to keep Hinata from learning Naruto's secret. November 21st, Naruto said, bye, everyone. I hope we all can meet each other in the future. And waved. Naruto Nissan, exclaimed Inari as she ran to embrace Naruto. Inari wiped some tears from his cheek and exclaimed, Ga, you must think of me as some scared crybaby for crying. Naruto ruffled Inari's head and said, don't worry, Inari, crying in this occasion doesn't make you a crybaby. Along with their new friends, the Konoha ninjas departed. Since their heroes were returning home, everyone in the wave wished them luck and wept with sorrow. Tsunami smiled and said, what should we name the bridge? We ought to call it the Great Tazuna Bridge, exclaimed Tazuna, laughing. Thanks to Tsunami, a frying pan struck him in the head. All right, Why don't we name it the Great Naruto Bridge, named after the boy who changed Inari's heart and brought the whole village together? Tazuna laughed. Everyone cheered in agreement with Tazuna's selection. From Kakashi's perspective, Sakura jumped through trees as fast as she could, asking, "How long will we have to travel for, sensei?" "We will arrive there by tomorrow if we stay over at Takedo village for tonight," replied Kakashi. Naruto smiled broadly and said, "All right. A vacation at last, then." Kakashi asked naively, "What do you mean, Naruto? Didn't you go on a vacation in your last mission?" With a fictitious tear streaming down his cheek, Naruto answered, "Yeah, but this mission ruined it. We had to cut the vacation short by 3 days." Kiba inquired, "How long is the village from here?" "Just about 2 hours from here, we will reach there by this evening," replied Kakashi. Sakura exclaimed, "Ah, I can't wait to get a warm shower and sleep in my own bed." With stars in her eyes, Naruto smirked and slowed down to walk beside Hinata. "Oh, Hinata, today is the last day for you to answer my question," he said. She simply frowned at what Naruto had said. "By tonight, I will tell the answer," Hinata declared. She had been thinking about what they had talked about 2 months prior, and the hints that others in the know had left. It seems that his father is so close to the Yondaime and strong that he would let his son be the Jinchuriki of the 9 tails. Well, I'm about to say that, but something is missing, Hinata thought to herself. "Village of Takedo," Sakura exclaimed, "at last. We are at the village." As she touched down. "Well, I will go check for any inns we could stay in, you guys can go enjoy the village," Kakashi grinned. Saying, "Hey, Hinata, let's go look around the village," Naruto grabbed her hand. She followed him, nodding. Sakura said, "Hey, Sasuke, let's find somewhere to eat," and she pulled his hand in that direction. He gave in to her pressure and followed her without protest. Zabuza said, "Haku, let's look around the place," as he searched for somewhere to go. He was dressed in a regular shirt and pants instead of his typical ninja attire. To blend in and prevent anyone from recognizing him, he had put a hoodie over his head. Kiba yelled, "Okay, Shino, I'm hungry. Let's go find some food," and left, Shino trailing behind. Kurenai and Kakashi searched for a place to spend the night at an inn. From Naruto's perspective, Hinata looked around for winter clothing and said, "We need to get some winter clothes. Why don't we go shopping?" "Sure, it's getting pretty chill now already. It's a good idea to shop for winter clothes," Naruto said, surveying his surroundings. From Sasuke's perspective, Sakura gazed around in amazement at all the clothing stores nearby and exclaimed, "God, look at all these clothes. No wonder they say the best clothes are at Takedo village. This place is more like a town than a village," Sasuke remarked. This particular village was enormous. Takedo village capitalized on the ninja world's rapid industrialization by industrializing its clothing industry and producing high-quality clothing quickly and affordably. She walked around shopping and perused their store's assortment of new winter clothing. With a deadpan expression, Sasuke thought, "I assumed she was looking for a place to eat." "Sasuke-kun, you must get something for winter too," she exclaimed as she dragged him into a store to purchase clothing. 7:40 p.m. From Naruto's perspective, Naruto said, "That place looks good," as he peered at a dining establishment. Saying, "Let's go eat there then," Hinata pulled him along. Naruto asked the lobby employees, "Is there a seat available for 2? Yes, Mr. Ninja," the employee answered. He motioned for one of the employees to go with them and lead the way. Naruto sighed with relief. "Ah, at last, it's been a while since we went out for dinner," he said. "Yes, it's been a while since we two had dinner alone. During the mission, we would always have someone with us, now it's just the 2 of us," Hinata replied with a grin. 8:40 p.m. From Sasuke's perspective, "They are taking way too long for the food," Sakura grumbled. Sasuke gave a nod. "We ordered over 20 minutes ago. I am quite hungry," Sasuke said, squinting a little. "Sasuke, you know, I never got to ask you, when were you and Naruto friends? Like you guys seem so chummy together, as if you two have known each other for a long time," Sakura said. He is like a family friend. His mother was best friends with my mom. My mom sometimes gave him food when he was young. After that night, Naruto helped me out with training and with my loneliness. He understood what it means to be all alone, like me. We both helped each other in that regard," Sasuke replied as he drank his water. Oh, I didn't know you two were that close. Now that you mention it, I never understood why Naruto was disliked by the villagers. I mean, from what I remembered, people usually avoided him before he started doing his pranks, Sakura responded. I know why he is disliked. It is quite stupid for him to be hated for it. But if you wish to know why he is hated, you should ask him. I have no authority to tell it to you since it is a crime punishable by death, replied Sasuke. Sakura sighed. HMPH, I will ask him after the mission. At that, Sasuke merely grinned. Finally, the food has arrived. I'm going hungry. Sakura pondered as she peered hungrily at the food. From Naruto's perspective, we are quite far from the village now. What do you want to tell me? Are you here to give up on our bet? Naruto grinned. Far from it, Hinata smirked in response. After pushing her against a tree, Naruto began making out with her. After some time, Hinata withdrew. With a playful grin, she said, what should be my name after we get married? Hinata Uzumaki, or Hinata Namikaze? Naruto gave a few owlish blinks. Oh, neither, Naruto answered. Hinata frowned and said, wait, don't tell me you are going to ditch me. Pulling her back, Naruto gave her a kiss. Naruto grinned and said, your name would be Hinata Senju, ya know. Senju, Hinata exclaimed, perplexed. Yup, since you know who my dad is, I will keep my word and tell you about me, said Naruto. My great-granddad is Tobirama Senju, the second Hokage. The Namikaze clan is pretty much a merchant family. I don't even know where they are. I have to take up the Senju name cause I will be taking up the Senju clan seat when I become a Chunin. The Uzumaki clan doesn't have a seat in the council, and neither does Namikaze. So as the last Senju in the village, I have to take up responsibility, replied Naruto. Hinata smirked and said, damn, you are almost like the Prince of Konoha, aren't you? Hehehehe, look who is talking. People literally call you a princess since you're the clan heir of the Hyuga clan, currently the strongest clan in the Leaf, remember? Naruto laughed. Naruto began kissing her and asked, now, where did we leave off again? November 22nd, 11:30 a.m., Southern Gate of Konoha. 10 individuals were seen making their way past the gate. The poor Chunin stationed at the gate almost had a heart attack when they saw Zabuza. In order to observe Zabuza's every action, the Anbu were surreptitiously following them. They haven't taken any action yet because Zabuza was with Kakashi, who, as an ex-Anbu captain, trusted him enough to allow him to do many things that others would normally question. The office of the Hokage. Hiruzen gave them a curious glance. Oh, yeah, old man, this is Zabuza Momochi, and this is his apprentice, Haku Yuki. And guys, this is the third Hokage, Naruto said as they introduced themselves. You call the Hokage, old man. Kid, you have some balls to call the god of shinobi that, Zabuza remarked in shock. He is like a grandpa to me in all but in blood, Naruto said quizzically. Kakashi, what is an S-ranked Kiri-missing ninja doing in my office? Hiruzen inquired. Kakashi laughed nervously and said, well, Naruto persuaded them to join Konoha, so you see, they are here to ask permission and join Konoha officially. Hiruzen let out a sigh. Come on, old man. If you let them join, I will show you how to complete your paperwork in a fraction of the time it usually takes you, Naruto said. Hiruzen gave an owlish blink. Alright, Zabuza, Haku, you will be interrogated for a few days to make sure you don't have any ill intent towards the village. After that, Zabuza, you will be put on probation for a few months, while Haku will get the opportunity to join the ninja corps after completing the required tests, Hiruzen said while lighting up. Lord Hokage, I would like to join the medic division. I am quite adept with healing, poison, antidote creating and doing medical procedures, Haku said with a bow. Fine. After you pass the test, go to the hospital and ask to be tested, Hiruzen responded. He was now focusing on Naruto. As if to whisper one of Konoha's greatest secrets, Naruto moved closer to Hiruzen's ear and said, so the secret for completing paperwork very fast is. Naruto yelled, shadow clones. And Hiruzen's right ear rang. Once his hearing returned, Hiruzen shot a sardonic glance. Naruto grinned and remarked, hehehehe, I thought you were the professor. But you didn't even realize this simple trick. Hiruzen began to mumble something inaudible while pounding his head against his desk. Are all Konoha ninjas that insane? Zabuza pondered while perspiring. Hiruzen made a number of shadow clones and said, okay, Kakashi, Kurenai, give me the mission report. Zabuza and Haku, the Anbu will escort you to T&I. Naruto, be here at 1 p.m. for lunch, we have some things to talk over. Finally, I now understand how Sensei and Minato managed to finish their paperwork so fast. A concealed smirk crossed his mind. From Naruto's perspective, Sakura stretched her hands outside the Hokage's office and exclaimed, at last. Gosh, it's been more than 3 months since I saw my parents. Hinata slyly inquired, so, when are you going to take me to that special somewhere? Tomorrow night, I guess. I want to rest today, Naruto grinned in response. Sakura grinned and said, oh, get a room, you two. The two blushed. Kiba said, well, I am leaving, I am super tired after the non-stop running, and Akamaru barked in agreement. After leaving the tower, they all nodded and went their separate ways. December 19th. Naruto-kun, care to join me for dinner at my compound? Hiruzen responded. Naruto said, perplexed, what for? Hiruzen said, it's nothing, Konohamaru just wanted you to come over, with a smooth smile. Naruto said, okay, I will come over today. Hiruzen smirked and said, good, now, off on your way, I am pretty sure I don't need to keep you away from your girlfriend, right? A few times, Naruto blinked. Oh, come on, Naruto, you don't need to play dumb with me. Kakashi has a habit of reporting everything in mission reports, Hiruzen replied. Naruto grumbled, oh gosh, what's his problem? Hiruzen smiled and said, ha, I am pretty sure your mom will approve of her. At that, Naruto smiled subtly. She sure would have, Naruto said. Naruto said, well, gotta go, old man. And waved goodbye before using Shunshin. One of the hidden Anbu questioned, Lord Hokage, does he know of his parents already? Emotionless, Hiruzen puffed his smoke. Yes, he does, but you should know better than to spread the information about it, Hiruzen cautioned his guards. They all gave affirmative nods. From Sasuke's perspective. God, it's super cold. Sakura complained. There hasn't been a winter this cold in 5 years. Back then, they gave us all a holiday in the academy for a whole month straight because of how cold it was, Sakura recalled. Sakura shot back, gosh, can you not tell anything else other than At that, Sakura's eyes were twitching wildly. Sasuke smirked at this. Sakura said, you know what, let's go somewhere to eat, what about Yakiniku-Q? I haven't been there in a long time. As she made her way to the eatery, Sasuke merely silently followed her. Sasuke was now completely covered in stuffy clothing. What is Sakura's logic? Her real motivation? To shield him from the cold. To keep him out of sight. Sakura exclaimed, ah, at last. It's so warm in here. They were on the verge of sitting down. She was tapped from behind by someone. She saw Naruto smirking as she turned back. Oh ho, looks like we four had the same idea of having a date here, Naruto smirked. Sakura and Sasuke blushed at this. Hinata grinned at how they responded. Hinata said, I will go get a private booth for us four, and proceeded to the helping desk. Sakura inquired, so, how did the meeting with the Hokage go? Naruto said, all he told me was to come over for dinner, with a sardonic tone. Sakura said, her face growing suspicious, what? That's all. Yup, turns out, Konohamaru wanted me over for tonight. I have been helping the little brat with some training for a while. He has progressed quite well. He has a good chakra reserve and decent chakra control, replied Naruto. Hinata motioned for them to follow her. Follow me, I got a spot reserved, she said. Sasuke removed all the extra layers of clothing and hung them on a little stand that was given to them after they had taken a seat. Naruto followed suit. Despite having the same motivation, their intentions were different. Hinata smiled and said, how is your training going, Sakura-chan? Oh, it's the same old same old. I practice both my chakra control and my stamina. Sensei made me learn more healing ninjutsu and even got me some genjutsu techniques to practice. But I don't have someone to try it out on since both of them are pretty much resistant towards any low-rank genjutsu, Sakura said as she rested her head on her palms. Sakura said, what about you, Hinata? Hinata leaned her head against the wall and said, I have been practicing my gentle fist for the most part. My father has been teaching me quite intensively ever since the mission to Wave. Gosh, that mission was very intensive. No other missions even came close to what we experienced there, Sakura replied. I miss that kind of action, Naruto remarked nostalgically. HMPH, easy for you to tell. Sakura shot back. Don't fight here, we are in public, Hinata sternly muttered to the two. After swiftly setting the meat down, the waitress departed to serve the other customers. The meat was put on the grill by everyone. Naruto leaned back and said, I put a seal around this place so no one will be able to hear us. Sasuke questioned, what will our next plan of action be? That will be quite difficult to answer. We don't have a proper network to know what's happening in the other villages. The Hokage is planning on just waiting to see what comes of this. But he is quite prepared. He knows that I know the true strength of the village since he knows about my high chakra sensor ability. A quite large number of ninjas are in the Anbu. About 10 to 20% of the ninja force is somehow related to the Anbu. This is to keep most of our forces hidden and unseen, replied Naruto. That's a lot, added Sakura. Won't there be an issue of the quality of ninjas deteriorating? Replied Hinata. A valid question. But they are always under constant training when they are off missions. The old man sees to it that they are always in top shape, said Naruto. Won't people raise eyebrows when a huge amount of the budget just disappears? Asked Sakura. That's the thing. The division of Anbu they are in does a lot of off-the-list missions. They perform a lot of black market missions to gather funding to keep running. And there are a lot of such missions popping up every day. The old man uses this group of Anbu to keep surveillance of any information vital for the village's security through the black market as well. He knows he won't be able to shut down the black market, so instead, he monitors them closely and uses them to gather vital information and funding for that branch. Sakura questioned, then what about the normal ninjas like us? Some of the missions we did were all of the record, remember? I was sent on a side mission during the visit to the daimyo's palace. There was another instance where I had to gather information during the mission where we had to escort the nephew of the Land of Claws back to his village, replied Naruto. Kakashi probably knew about them, too. Heck, he might have been sent on a few missions of his own during the missions we did, Naruto said. Sakura huffed. Whoa, Sasuke, did you hear him? Naruto and Sensei went on missions without us. With a deadpan tone, Sasuke said, Sakura, I went on some of them too. What, you traitor? Sakura exclaimed as she playfully punched Sasuke. Alright, Sakura, cool down. It was necessary since we had justifications to go to such places, since we had a mission there. Otherwise, the Hokage would risk sending ninjas there who technically have no reason to be there, replied Naruto. Sakura huffed. I still don't like that I wasn't sent out on those missions. With a deadpan tone, Naruto answered, you are our team medic. It's imperative that you are safe so the success rate can be high. Hinata said, would you look at that, the meat is done cooking, changing the topic of discussion. Sakura glanced at Hinata and said, isn't it your birthday next week? Yes, my family plans on throwing a party since I would officially become a teenager, replied Hinata. Curious, Naruto said, niece, who is invited to it? I will invite whoever I graduated with this year, and my family will be inviting the clan heads and other important people from the country. Well, essentially, it's just a political meeting. Sakura sighed, lowering her shoulders. When Hinata said, I am afraid so. It will just be a meet-up between old people, we would most likely be excluded, so it's safe to assume we might have some fun, Naruto laughed. It would be for you guys, but I will be in the center of the attention, so I wouldn't be able to join you guys, Hinata replied. Naruto put his arm around her shoulders and remarked, well, nobody will notice when you slip away. Hinata jokingly, they would lock down the whole compound if they were to find out that I was missing, as she approached him more closely. Sakura looked at what those two were doing with a deadpan expression. Sakura rolled her eyes and said, okay, don't get so chummy in front of us. He, Naruto said with a quiet laugh. Naruto tasted the food and remarked, the food is good here. They always give out the best cuts. Well, no wonder it's so expensive, Sakura remarked. Don't worry, we make a lot of money in our missions, Naruto answered. Sasuke took a tiny bite of the meat and asked, do you think they will put us through the Chunin exams coming up in 2 months? Come on, the Hokage would love to show us off to the rest of the world. Konoha hadn't had a Kakashi, Guy, or the Yundaime in quite a while. We had Itachi, but he went cuckoo. Having someone strong to show off will help boost the reputation, giving us more valuable missions, said Naruto. Sasuke gave a slight grunt in response to Itachi's mention, but he still nodded in agreement with Naruto's remarks. Naruto exclaimed with joy, "God, I am still hungry no matter how much they keep giving us." "Using a lot of chakra will have that effect," Hinata answered. Sensei had been training me on using the Chidori. It took a lot of chakra out of me," Sasuke said. "Yeah, that jutsu uses a shit ton of chakra. I sensed it when Sensei used it during the battle at the bridge. It gives the user a temporary speed boost, which is on top of the lightning boost he was using. That jutsu would be so awesome, just that I wouldn't be able to use it cause I don't have the Sharingan," Naruto complained. Even with the Sharingan, it's tricky to use. Especially when you are very fast," said Sasuke. I heard some people say that Sensei used the Sharingan even better than most Uchihas," said Naruto. "Yes, my father and Itachi both spoke about how Kakashi uses his Sharingan. He was able to use the Sharingan much more effectively than most of my clansmen, despite him not being of Uchiha descent," Sasuke said while drinking a glass of water. "Ah, I had my fill," Naruto remarked as he reclined. Everybody gave a nod. Sakura gave the waitress a wave. The total amount of the bill was 4,000 ryo. When Sakura looked over the bill, her eyes twitched a lot. Naruto pulled out 1,000 ryo and said, "All right, let's split it." "Split? What do you mean? The two people who ate the most were you and Sasuke." Sakura removed 1,000 ryo, thinking. With 1,000 ryo, Hinata thought, "Gosh, this much money is what I make by completing 10D ranks." Before Hinata could object, Naruto placed 2,000 ryo and said, "Hina-chan, you don't need to pay. I was the one to took you out today." Sasuke said, adding 2,000 ryo to Naruto's total. The waitress said, "Thank you for coming to visit us." Naruto said, "Well, that was a nice time we had," as he stood up and put on all of his bulky clothing. Nodded Sasuke and the others. "Well, why don't we just walk around a bit and start training after this?" replied Naruto. Sakura replied, "Sure, why not?" And Sasuke nodded in agreement. Hinata answered, "Okay, Naruto-kun, I'll be with you today." 6:30 p.m. Naruto looked at the Anbu watching over the house and remarked, "Old man told me to come here for dinner." "You should wait, one of us went to ask Lord Hokage," a monkey-masked Anbu guard said. All right," Naruto said, observing passively. Near the person Naruto was speaking to, an Anbu leapt and whispered. With a, "All right, brat, go in," the Anbu allowed him to enter. "Yo, old man," said Naruto. "Oh, welcome, Naruto-kun, you are a bit early." "Just wait a bit until they are done preparing the food," exclaimed Hiruzen, grinning. "Hey, big bro," Konohamaru yelled as he rushed towards Naruto. While ruffling Konohamaru's hair, Naruto remarked, "Hey, Kono. It's been a while, hasn't it?" Food was placed on the table by the servants as they entered. The three of them took a seat and began eating. Konohamaru exclaimed, "So, big bro. Have you been on any exciting missions?" With great excitement. I have been sent out to protect important people, but it's pretty boring since there is no action," said Naruto. "Oh, did you rescue any princess? Did you assassinate some evil tyrant? Any missions like that?" he inquired, trying to get more details. "Ha ha ha ha," Hiruzen laughed like a grandfather. "Naruto-kun is just a genin. He is sent out on less risky missions, such as sending out messages and resources to neighboring villages and ninja outposts, which have a low risk of encountering ninjas," Hiruzen explained. "AWWWWE, that's so unfair. I don't want to be stuck doing boring stuff when I graduate." Konohamaru grumbled. "Don't worry, Kono, when you become a chunin, you will be able to go on more interesting missions," Naruto replied. "That's true, if you prove yourself to be both smart and strong, you will be promoted, letting you go on higher-ranked missions," Hiruzen responded. "So, big bro Naruto, what will you teach me next?" "I know how to water walk," said Konohamaru. Naruto inquired, "How long can you do it for?" When asked, "About half an hour," Konohamaru answered. "No, you should do it for an hour before I teach you anything advanced." "Look here, Kono, ninjas fight in water quite often. So you better practice it and perform it as if you were walking on land," Naruto responded. Konohamaru grumbled, Man. I wanted to learn the Infernal Flame Jutsu. Ha 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 ha. That jutsu is an A- ranked ninjutsu. I can sense how much chakra you have, and clearly, you don't have enough to even perform a half-sized version of that jutsu. That jutsu is leagues more powerful than the fireball jutsu I taught you, replied Naruto. Naruto-kun, do you have any plans for tomorrow morning? I know it's a day off tomorrow for your team, Hiruzen replied. I was planning on practicing nature transformation for fire release, replied Naruto. With a slight smirk, Hiruzen remarked, well, I was hoping to ask you for a spar tomorrow, but it looks like you are pretty busy. At that, Naruto became alert. What do you mean by busy? I can put that off for another day, Naruto uttered hastily. Hiruzen said, ha 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 ha, alright, Naruto-kun, be here at 6:30 a.m., and stood up. Obviously, after saying this, Naruto stood up to wash his hands. Naruto spoke with Konohamaru for a short while about his academy day and other topics. December 20th, 7 a.m. Naruto stretched out his legs and thought seriously, well, I should not hold back here. I have to show him that I am strong enough to take on an active duty for the village. He would probably try to push for me to be the next Hokage if I showed him that I am pretty much one of the strongest ninjas in the village. Naruto, are you finished warming up? With a light-hearted grin, Hiruzen inquired. Sure old man, Naruto grinned in response. Don't underestimate me just because I am old, Naruto-kun, else I might have to teach you a lesson or two, Hiruzen laughed. Naruto released all of his restriction seals and made a one-handed ram sign. Only high-ranking ninjas, typically the top Anbu, were permitted to use the secret clearing where they were. The Anbu squad, which included cat, bear, monkey, and tiger, could hardly keep up with the blinding speeds at which Naruto and Hiruzen charged at each other. Each of their blows was easily blocked as they traded blows. Hiruzen and Naruto leapt back. Hiruzen smirked and remarked, looks like you are not making this easy for me, Naruto-kun. Obviously, old man, if you want to defeat me, you have to give it your all, Naruto retorted, drawing his katana. Hiruzen used the summoning jutsu and went over a few hand signals. Well, Hiruzen, you brought me out, but why? To battle a brat. With some annoyance, the enormous monkey summon screamed. Enma, don't undervalue him. He's pretty strong and almost as fast as me. Hiruzen grinned and said, I want to humble him a bit before his strength gets to his head. Enma sighed and changed into a staff. Hiruzen and Naruto hurried in, and although the staff was able to easily block Naruto's slashes, it was obvious that his strikes were unsuccessful, so he chose to leap back a little. Shadow Shuriken Jutsu, Naruto muttered as he performed a single-handed sign and fired 5 shurikens at Hiruzen. The 5 quickly changed to 20, then 20 to 100. He only needed one hand sign to execute such a complex jutsu move. One of the Anbu made a startled remark. Hiruzen easily blocked the shurikens by spinning his staff around a few times. Release the fire. Fire blast. Hiruzen uttered a few hand signals before a massive, fast-moving explosion of flames shot toward Naruto. Water fashion. Waves that are severing. With a series of hand signals, Naruto yelled, creating a massive stream of water that was flowing in the direction of the fire. The water and fire jutsus collided, causing a massive amount of water to turn into vapor and obstructing everyone's vision. Naruto passed through another set of seals and blew out a cool breeze, which helped the water cool down and speed up. A water jutsu of great rank without a water supply. The power and sheer volume of chakra needed to accomplish such a feat. The cat-masked Anbu exclaimed in wonder. Naruto thought as he went through a few hand signals, TCH, that old man made clones, and they are all pretty close to me. I can't say which one is real and which one is fake. He leapt to his feet, avoiding a blow. Wind style. Blasts of pressure. Naruto yelled, blowing out the mist with several gusts of high-pressure air. The fog quickly dissipated, exposing Hiruzen's location. Wind style. Vacuum slash, Naruto said, going through a few hand signals before blasting out a thin stream of air that sliced through everything it came into contact with. While some clones did dispel, the majority avoided it. In order to stay in the air for a longer period of time, Naruto makes a few clones as he falls. These clones land safely and begin attacking Hiruzen's clones. In order to help his clones defeat the clones, Naruto blasted a couple mud bullets at them. Naruto had to deflect an elongated staff's blow. Damn, it can get that big. Naruto exclaimed in shock as he observed the adamantine staff becoming shorter. After landing, Naruto charged Hiruzen. Hiruzen, who knew Enma when it transformed into a staff as powerful as the adamantine chains of the Uzumaki clan, but even they had their limits, was able to recognize what Naruto was doing when he laced his katana with some wind chakra and began to strike hard at the staff. If he took things too lightly, Naruto's expertly landed slashes, enhanced by wind chakra, could do some damage. To Hiruzen's surprise, he thought he had been hitting the same spot repeatedly. He is quite cunning to do that, trying to test Enma's limits. Hiruzen kicked Naruto directly in the abdomen after blocking his slash and pushing it out. The ground cracked under the weight of the blow, and Naruto braced himself for the downward blow after being pushed back a few paces. Hiruzen winced in agony as Naruto pushed it back and delivered a powerful blow to the stomach. In an attempt to keep the momentum going, Naruto followed up with a hard kick to Hiruzen's torso, pushing him away before he could defend himself. However, Hiruzen bounced back fast and leapt at Naruto. After Hiruzen caught him off guard with a fairly forceful punch to the cheek, Phil allowed Hiruzen to land a powerful knee kick on Naruto's abdomen, causing him to collapse in agony. With a painful groan, Naruto said, I think that's enough." There was a noticeable scratch on Enma's shoulder as he changed back into his monkey form, clearly impressed by Naruto's strength. "This brat managed to scratch me in my adamantine staff form," Enma exclaimed, shocked. "I told you so, he is not to be underestimated," Hiruzen grinned. The Anbu touched down close to them. Hiruzen smirked and reprimanded them, saying, "Look, a genin just out of the academy managed to do better than all of you when you fought me as a team." It was quite unfair for them because Naruto's lineage and his burden allowed him to gain strength at a very fast pace, while only a few others had some advantages similar to it, which helped them gain strength. The Anbu looked perplexed and unsure of how to respond because what they had been witnessing had left them dazed. Hiruzen grinned and said, "Now, I think it's time to go to the hospital to heal our injuries." Naruto had some really nasty punches, and although Hiruzen didn't say it aloud, he was seriously injured everywhere he was hit. The Central Hospital in Anbu. 7:30 a.m. One of the doctors said, "Lord Hokage, you have several bruises and even a broken rib," as he examined Hiruzen's chart. Hiruzen merely gave a small laugh. "It was just a spar, but I am afraid my little friend has suffered more," Hiruzen stated. Because Hiruzen was significantly stronger and more seasoned than Naruto, the spar was relatively brief, lasting only 15 minutes. From Naruto's perspective, "How long should I remain here, bored?" Naruto inquired. "Normally, I would require you to remain here for some time, but given your condition." The doctor wrapped some bandages around him and said, "You will be able to walk fine enough after applying the bandages." To which Naruto replied, I guess I am lucky. I stated that walking, not training, would be acceptable. When Lord Hokage struck you on the shoulder with his staff, you suffered more than 3 broken ribs and a dislocated shoulder. In order for your upper body to heal properly, you shouldn't move it too much, the doctor admonished. Naruto rolled his eyes and said, all right, causing the doctor to sigh in exasperation. "Here, drink some of it, it will help you lose some of the cramps," the doctor said as he handed him some electrolyte water with an orange flavor. "Gee, thanks," Naruto said, swallowing it whole. "Naruto-kun, how are you?" Hiruzen asked as he walked into the room. "Good, just have to wait a few hours before they are all healed," said Naruto. "How about you?" "Aside from a broken rib and a few bruises, I'm doing fine." Hiruzen laughed in response. "You did quite a number on me." "Well, you did far worse to me," Naruto smirked in response. "Are you able to walk?" Hiruzen inquired. Naruto said, "Yup," and stood up. Hiruzen said, "Okay, come to my house, we will get some breakfast," as she and Naruto walked down the hallway. When Hiruzen walked past them, everyone there stood erect. Hiruzen calmly smiled and said, "At ease, I am just here for a checkup, just like the rest of you," allowing the ninjas to unwind. 7:50 a.m. At the compound of Hiruzen. That's quite the serious matter," Hiruzen said while taking a sip of tea. "Yes, Iwa's actions at Kusa are quite alarming. They are probably fighting for some of the arable land there," Naruto retorted, sipping miso soup. "Kusa has been a top priority for Tsushinokuni for all the previous wars. The fact that they continue to import enormous quantities of food from the nearby villages bothers them. Even though it is far from their lands, it poses a serious security risk in the event of a conflict," Hiruzen said. "Yes, that is essentially it. Iowa would be forced to fight in unrelated conflicts because any conflict would cause a lot of problems there, Naruto stated. Hey, Naruto, big bro, I had no idea you were visiting. Konohamaru exclaimed excitedly. Naruto said, "Good morning, Kono," as Konohamaru sat beside him. The servants brought him his breakfast, which he quickly began to devour. Cool down, Kono, no one will take your food away, said Naruto. HMHM, Konohamaru said, ignoring him as he quickly finished his breakfast. Hey, big bro, I want to walk to the academy, please, Konohamaru asked, her eyes welling with tears. Hiruzen nodded when Naruto looked at him. With a, "We can discuss the matter later," Hiruzen stood up. After washing their hands, Naruto and Konohamaru headed to the academy. From Hinata's perspective, Hinata-sama, "Good morning," a servant bowed to her. "Good morning," Hinata said, bowing slightly. Hanabi said, "Ah, Hinata-nisama, good morning," and bowed. "Good morning, Hanabi-chan," she answered. Hanabi recalled, "You said you would be coming with me to the academy." "Yes, I will drop you off there. If there is time, I might speak with Iruka-sensei. I haven't seen sensei in a long time," Hinata answered. The Stone Garden Path. "Hi, Naruto-nichan, are you aware of the summons for my clan?" From a nearby street, where Hinata and Hanabi were strolling, Konohamaru's voice could be heard. When Hanabi heard his voice, her mood darkened, and Hinata became intrigued when Naruto was mentioned. "Hey, Hinata." When they happened to cross paths, Naruto greeted them. "Hi, Naruto-kun, why have you come here?" As they strolled side by side, Hinata inquired. Naruto ruffled Konohamaru's hair and replied, "Well, I am here to drop this little guy off at the academy as well." "What are you doing here, grr?" Konohamaru glared at Hanabi as he asked or yelled. "I could say the same thing about you, tch." With a huff, Hanabi turned away and yelled back. "Well," Naruto raised an eyebrow. "Who is she?" Curious, Naruto inquired. "She's the girl I mentioned. She never stops talking about how powerful and superior her clan is. She also speaks down to everyone and always gives the impression that they are beneath her." Konohamaru grumbled. Konohamaru's response caused Hinata to sigh. "Hanabi, you should not act like that to others, it's very disrespectful," Hinata said. "HMPH, why should I give a damn? They are beneath me," Hanabi answered, averting her gaze and frowning slightly. At her response, Naruto blinked owlishly. Naruto muttered, "Damn," without anyone noticing. Konohamaru merely grimaced more, to which Konohamaru replied, "HMPH, she can act as mighty as she wants to be, but she still can't beat me." He turned his head away from Hanabi. "Hinata, which member of the Hyuga clan is the strongest in our age group?" Naruto inquired, speculating about the identity of the person. "That's Neji, my older cousin brother." Hinata replied, "He was able to learn more quickly than any member of our clan could ever." Hanabi smirked and remarked, "He is the strongest genin in our village." "No, there is no stronger genin than my big bro." With a thumbs up to Naruto, Konohamaru remarked, "He would use that Neji guy to wipe the floor." Laugh. "Do you think I'd think he's the strongest after seeing how battered he is?" "Neji Nichan is the strongest genin, so there's no chance," Hanabi said. "Yeah, big brother, how are you doing? You're covered in bandages," Konohamaru remarked, appearing worried. Hinata appeared intrigued as well. It appeared that Naruto was given a good thrashing this time. "Hehehehe, what a brat, I had your grandfather, he did a good job beating me up." Naruto rolled out his shirt and displayed all the bandages on him, saying, "But don't think that he left unscathed, he got a pretty good beating from me too." He went on to say, "He broke a bunch of ribs and bruised me up good." "Hell no, dude, I had no idea the elderly man was so powerful." With star-shaped eyes, Konohamaru spoke. "You engaged the Hokage in combat?" Hinata inquired, startled. Naruto answered, "Yup, just about an hour and a half ago." "How on earth are you standing at all?" She activated her Byakugan and asked. "You have 3 broken ribs and a lot of bruises everywhere." Naruto responded, redressing, "If it hadn't been for Lord Enma joining in, it wouldn't have been that bad." Hanabi also noticed Naruto's numerous bruises, but her Byakugan wasn't yet strong enough to see the human body's skeleton. "HMPH, then Lord Hokage must be getting old," Hanabi remarked sarcastically. "That's sufficient, Hanabi. Regardless of his age, Lord Hokage has always been the strongest ninja in our village. He cannot be disrespected." Had any ninja heard, They would have told Lord Hokage about it, conveniently portraying it as our clan demeaning him and painting us as a clan that was rebelling. Harshly, Hinata whispered. All right, little girl, it's not easy to look down on an elderly man. Maybe I should ask Iruka-sensei to remind you of the village hierarchy and the Hokage so that no one gets confused, Naruto stated gravely. Their remarks shocked Hanabi, who kept her head down and simply followed the other three the remainder of the way to the academy. Ninja Academy of Konoha. Hey, sensei. Naruto said hello. Oh, Naruto, why are you in this place? Iruka asked, his expression changing from one of astonishment to joy. Hey, how are you two doing? Iruka greeted Hinata and Naruto. Both of them said, we have been well, together. It looks like you two, Hanabi and Konohamaru. Iruka grinned easily and said, thank you for walking them here safely. Iruka-sensei, good morning. He was waved at by Konohamaru. Hey, Hanabi-chan and Konohamaru-ku, how about you two go to class? Iruka motioned for them to go inside the structure. Well, sensei, it's been a long time. With one hand in his pocket, Naruto posed the question. Iruka remarked, it has been a while. I apologize if my sister acts out too much, Iruka-sensei. Hinata bowed down and apologized, saying, she can be quite arrogant. Don't worry, she is manageable, Iruka said, attempting to prevent her from lowering herself further. Well, sensei, I believe that the students need to be taught about the Hokage and the significance of the village hierarchy. With a little sigh, Naruto remarked, the students nowadays don't understand what it means to be a part of the village. At that, Iruka's face scowled slightly. Naruto, I'll take care of that. Iruka nodded in response. They must learn how the village functions and how they will be contributing to it once they become ninjas. When Hinata reflected on that moment, she sighed, feeling a little let down by her sister. Well, it's getting late now, I should get back to class, Iruka said, giving them both a nod before heading out. Naruto and Hinata turned around and began to make their way back to their starting point. TCH, the elders are the reason behind her behavior. Hinata frowned and said, some of them want to instill in all the children the knowledge that our clan is the strongest among the other clans in the Leaf. Don't worry, Hinata, I will do my best to kick them off their high horses pretty soon. Maybe if I join the Chunin exams and fight Neji, I guess I could beat him to accomplish that. Naruto said, placing his hand on his chin. The meeting room of the Hokage. The person in charge was sitting in a chair with a desk in front of him, surrounded by a group of Jonin and high-ranking Chunin. Well, I guess it's time for it already. Somberly, one of the Jonin said. Huffing out a cloud of smoke from his pipe, Hiruzen stated, yes, we must demonstrate our strength during these 2 months. We must not display any weakness during this time. Hiruzen commanded, so, give me your recommendations. The majority of the Jonin said, yes. Hokage, Lord, for the Chunin exam this year, my young team is prepared. Guy grinned broadly and exclaimed. All right, that concludes the older teams. What about the most recent graduates? Hiruzen inquired. Team 10 will be taking part in the exams, Asuma declared as she emerged, shocking the Chunin and Jonins present. Kurenai stepped forward and said, Team 8 will be taking part in the exams, maintaining Asume's level. Team 7 is prepared for the tests. Kakashi stood in line with Asume and said, I'm signing them up too. What? This is not acceptable. They're still novices. They have no experience. Exams could kill your genins. Hokage, Lord, please think again. Iruka yelled and stood up. Kakashi shot back, Iruka-san, you don't dictate when my genin get to join the exams. They were my pupils. I've known them for half a century. They're not as powerful as you think. Iruka retaliated. Why not? I became a Jonin when I was their age and a Chunin when I was 6, Kakashi shot back. You are not like Naruto. He is unique. You are stronger and smarter than he is. Iruka responded with a shout. No, he isn't. At his age, Naruto is far stronger than I was. Sakura and Sasuke are also. Furthermore, they are no longer your students. I can command them as my soldiers. Hiruzen stepped in before Iruka could yell back, Kakashi said in a stern voice. You too, that's enough. Iruka, Kakashi is correct. I understand that you are concerned about your students, but you ought to know better. Each of them is a ninja who reports to their Jonin sensei. Before things got out of hand, Hiruzen said, you don't need to worry too much about them because they are strong enough to take care of themselves. I now announce the end of the meeting. Anyone who registered their teams must pick up the forms and depart immediately, Hiruzen stated sternly. Ground of Training 3, Naruto jokingly said, you're pretty early. This time, Kakashi arrived at 8:30 a.m. instead of his usual time of 9 a.m. Kakashi gave an uncomfortable laugh. Well, these are the papers for the upcoming Chunin exams, Kakashi stated as he distributed the forms. It's optional, but I recommend that you all join. All of you are more than qualified for becoming Chunin, Kakashi said. Well, it's in 2 days. Naruto uttered those words. What should we get ready for? Sakura inquired. Well, I could give you all some advice, but I can't tell you exactly what will happen on the tests. I advise the 3 of you to work together so that you can all pass the tests with ease. Oh, and review your coursework. It will help you on the test, Kakashi suggested. Well, that's it. Kakashi departed in a cloud of smoke, saying, just turn in the forms at the academy during the exams. Whoa, to think that we were suggested as being Chunin. Sakura exclaimed excitedly. We shouldn't be shocked, Consider all the high-level missions we were deployed on. They want to flaunt us, Sasuke grinned. Couldn't agree more, Naruto answered. I started learning about poisons, but I don't know where to buy the supplies to make them, Sakura whined. That's the least of our concerns, hee. With a serious tone, Naruto said, I have something to say to both of you, raising the eyebrows of his teammates. What's wrong? Sakura inquired. Naruto slammed his hands on the ground after going over a few hand signals. What I'm about to divulge is highly classified. We've been told there will be an invasion during the exams, Naruto disclosed. What? So why weren't the tests cancelled? Sakura gave a startled response. To keep our knowledge of the information a secret. Naruto nodded in agreement as Sasuke asked. Kumo, is that Iwa? Who is it? Sakura inquired. With all of the missions we have been conducting and the data we were obtaining, your suspicions would be spot on. But it's a different village, Sakura. More precisely, 2 villages. It would be Otogakure, a recently established village, and Suna. I'm not sure what's wrong with Oto, but it's definitely the reason Suna is fighting us. Their daimyo continues to assign us important tasks while ignoring Suna. As you are aware, Suna requires a lot of resources to survive and is rather barren. Their existence would be in danger if they were left penniless. Naruto replied, they want to invade us to demonstrate to their daimyo that they are still strong and capable of taking on high-ranking missions. But why? Are they still on our side? How come they wouldn't go after another village? Sakura inquired. Well, I believe it's because we are the most affluent of the 5 villages. Above all, we are taking the most missions from the Land of Wind, and we have the most ninjas in arable land, Sasuke replied. You're exactly right, we're the ones actively depleting them. Furthermore, we needed the money for post-war reconstruction and the Nine Tails attack, so we couldn't do much to support Suna, Naruto frowned in response. Sakura gave a solemn nod. All right, I'm done talking. Prepare thoroughly and arrive on time, Naruto said, waving goodbye before vanishing in a body flicker. 12 p.m. From Naruto's perspective, Naruto pondered, well, I wonder what I should eat. Naruto looked at the square box and thought, looks like Kono is trying to follow me. Kono, would you like to have lunch with me and your friends? Naruto inquired. 3 children materialized in a cloud of gray smoke. My name is Udon. I am proficient in math. A child with a runny nose named Udon cried out. I am the stunning and seductive Kunoichi. Moegi. An orange-haired girl named Mogi yelled while making a peace sign. I am also the Hokage of the future. Sarutobi Konohamaru. They were all sporting the goggles Naruto typically wore at his academy when Konohamaru yelled and punched the air. Big brother, you promised to train us. Konohamaru yelled, his eyes full of stars. Naruto, you'd better not slack off, we have the exams coming up, Sakura said as she approached them. Well, dude, what do you want? Konohamaru huffed and asked. Dude, Sakura inquired bewilderedly. Indeed, you have a large forehead and a flat chest, so it goes without saying that you are an ugly guy. Kono shot back. Sakura's eyes were blazing with fire. Kono, it's your cue to run, Naruto said. Although Kono appeared perplexed, he was terrified and began to run as quickly as he could, but Sakura was faster. Konohamaru ran into a foreign ninja before Sakura could apprehend him. Hey, jerk, be careful, the ninja lifted Konohamaru and spoke. Hey, give me a chance, Konohamaru yelled. Let him go, sir. He was just having fun. It's my fault because I was chasing him, Sakura said. The ninja who was lifting Konohamaru was dressed in an enormous cat suit and had a distinctive makeup look that indicated he was from Sunagaku. A blonde girl with 4 enormous ponytails frowned and said, Kankuro, let him go, we don't want him seeing what we are doing. Kankuro retorted, not until he learns his lesson, as if to punch him. Now, we don't want to start fighting, do we? As he emerged from a street corner, Naruto spoke. Who are you to tell me what I am incapable of doing? Kankuro yelled. With a kunai aimed at Kenkuo's throat, Naruto materialized behind him. Naruto grinned sweetly and said, Now, if you were to harm the boy, I am afraid I have to kill you for harming the grandson of the Hokage. Temari was about to attack him after being shocked, but she stopped when Naruto's words hit her. Shit, Kankuro, now let him go. Now is not the time for us to cause trouble here. Temari yelled as she attempted to approach Kankuro, but a cold, sharp object, a second Naruto, pressed a kunai against her throat from behind. When did you do that? Temari exclaimed, startled. The boy ran up and hid behind Sakura after Kankuro released him. Naruto appeared beside Sakura in a body flicker, and his clone puffed and vanished. Well, how about introducing yourself? Gazing at a tree, Naruto inquired. Sitting there, perplexed, Sasuke noticed that Naruto was staring to his right rather than at him. Sasuke hurried to jump beside Naruto and saw where he was looking. It was a red-headed Suna ninja, short and likely younger than them, with a massive sand gourd. He vanished from sight and reappeared in front of his teammates. I apologize for my siblings' actions, the boy said. Gaara, however, shut up, you have caused too much trouble, Gaara said quietly while casting a homicidal glance at Kankuro. Gaara turned back. Let's leave now, Temari, Kankuro, she said. Are you both taking the tests? Naruto and Sasuke nodded in agreement as Gaara asked. What's your name? Gaara inquired. Naruto Uzumaki. Sasuke Uchiha. My name is Sabaku no Gaara. My mom wants to touch both of your blood. His siblings shuddered at this. At the same time, they both thought, that's it, they are done for. A few seconds later, go now, Kono, you should only leave your home for the academy from now on. Ninjas from other villages are currently traveling to Konoha to take the Chunin exams. And you might be a high priority target because you are the Hokage's grandson, Naruto said, dismissing the 3 of them. Naruto remarked, that red-headed guy, he is the Jinchuriki of the One-Tails, following the departure of Konohamaru's troop. What, however, he appears much more insane than you, Sakura worriedly remarked. His seal is shitty, he could be their trump card, I suppose. Naruto responded solemnly, his seal is so weak that it might release the one-tailed beast. What? Sakura yelled in a startled voice. Keep it down, I will be going to inform the Hokage, Naruto replied. Just in case one of you encounters him, I'll get some seals ready. With a body flicker, Naruto went on, the only thing you could do is escape him since neither of you is adept in seals. February 14th. Sakura grinned as she reflected, it's been a while since we came here. Naruto grimaced and said, yup, I hated every second of it here. Sakura's smile faded as she recalled Naruto's awful academy experience. Alright, let's move on from the past. Let's do well on the test. Sakura exclaimed with enthusiasm. Sasuke remarked, it shows us that we should report to class 301, as he examined the forms. They were a little confused when they noticed a room marked 301 on their way to the room. Naruto remarked, looks like they are testing us before we even start the test. Should we identify it as a genjutsu? Sakura said, I mean, those who are caught will be weak people, which will make it easier down the road when we might be forced to fight others. When Sasuke said, I don't agree, we should face only the stronger people. I must concur with Sakura. It will be more beneficial for us if we increase the number of contestants in the later stages. We don't really want to fight anyone. The Chunin level has already been surpassed. Since we will eventually have to battle more people, it will be more enjoyable if we have more people, Naruto retorted. Well, alright, but who will make it public? Sasuke inquired. You do. Everyone considers you to be haughty and powerful, Naruto joked, causing Sasuke to frown. At the doorway leading to room 301. Hey, stop preventing us from coming in. A ninja with large green spandex, round eyes, and thick eyebrows yelled in disapproval. You ought to reconsider. People are killed in these tests. One of the individuals obstructing the entrance yelled. Hey, sir, we come from the same village. Why are you preventing us? Tenten scowled and yelled. Sasuke said, hey, drop the genjutsu, you are fooling nobody, with a smug air. This genjutsu is so obvious that my teammate with no genjutsu skill could spot it over a mile away, Sasuke said, verbally teasing Naruto for forcing him to perform this. One of the people obstructing the entrance said, so someone noticed, changing into an elderly-looking Chunin. The other one also changed. Just because you could figure out it's a genjutsu doesn't mean you are cut out for the exams, one of them said, hurrying toward Sasuke. The bushy-browed boy rushed up to them and deflected both of their blows. This guy is pretty fast, Sasuke thought, a little taken aback. We are Leaf Genin, too. We ought not to be at odds. He yelled. Neji walked over to them and reprimanded them, saying, it was your idea to hide our strength, but you easily gave it away. The child with the bushy brows, chuckled uncomfortably. Neji yelled as Team 7 passed them. What's your name? He asked, giving Sasuke a stern look. You should give your name out first since it's basic courtesy, Sasuke grinned in response. Neji scowled a little. Neji Hyuga, he said in response. Sasuke Uchiha. The group left and went into a hallway. Hey, hold on. Lee ran up to them and yelled. Sakura-chan, make me your boyfriend, please. I swear to you that I will sacrifice my life to keep you safe. Lee yelled and blew her a few kisses. Sakura slipped behind Sasuke, barely avoiding them. Sakura looked at Lee's attire and said, I already have someone, with a hint of disgust. Oh, he said in a dejected manner, but he soon brightened up. Hey, you were the rookie of the year before, Sasuke-san. Of my batch, I am, in fact, the strongest. I've heard the Uchihas were very powerful. I want to battle you to prove my strength and find out if the rumors are accurate. Lee yelled as he turned to face Sasuke. All right, Sasuke grinned. Activate your Sharingan, Sasuke. That child may be a pupil of Guy's. Naruto muttered, he probably has some killer taijutsu moves. With a nod, Sasuke turned on the Sharingan. They both charged at one another. Sasuke and Lee initially traded a few blows, avoiding each other's blows for the most part, but Lee managed to land a few blows. Sasuke leapt back, using the fireball jutsu, but Lee easily sidestepped it. Tenten joked, Lee will win this easily, grinning. Without taking off his weights, Lee began displaying his actual speed. With surprise, Sasuke thought, this guy is fast. He barely uses any chakra to reinforce his legs and hands while striking. And jumped back defensively. Even though Sasuke's Sharingan can easily detect every one of Lee's strikes, he lets a few hits hit him in order to avoid showing off too much. With a sudden burst of speed, Lee kicked Sasuke into the air, then swiftly trailed behind him, unraveling his bandages as they began to cover him. He held Sasuke tightly and began spinning as they descended. However, before they could reach the ground, a massive turtle materialized, and an enormous man who resembled Lee but was older stood above it, easily shattering and tossing them apart. When he landed, Sasuke burst in a puff of smoke. Lee landed lightly and was startled to see that the Sasuke he was battling was merely a clone when he looked up. Guy-sensei, Lee cried out, I warned you not to use that method without my consent. Guy slapped Lee and yelled. However, after Lee stood up, they both sobbed and gave each other hugs. Guy-sensei, I'm so sorry, I'll run around the village 100 times for this. Lee yelled. I'll perform 500 one-handed push-ups if I don't succeed. He went on. The trio was horrified by what they were saying as they watched a sunset unfold behind them, with waves crashing against the coast. Oh no, Sakura cried out in terror. Gosh, we had to see this regularly, Tenten grumbled. Naruto and Sakura followed Sasuke as he emerged beside them and began to leave, but Guy leapt in front of them. You must be Kakashi's team, Guy exclaimed, grinning. Yes, you must be Guy-sensei's rival, Naruto said, rubbing his cheek. Did Kakashi tell you about me? Guy yelled excitedly. Sakura said, no, he never spoke about having a rival, with a tone of deadpan. Guy's attitude quickly soured. Well, I am currently winning against Kakashi with 51 to 49. This guy is stronger than sensei. Sakura exclaimed. Well, it's getting late. You three should head to the examination hall before it gets too late, said Guy. With a nod, the three headed to the exam room. At the doorway, Kakashi said, Yo, as he leaned against the wall near the classroom door. What are you doing here, sensei? Sakura inquired. Why, I'm here to wish everyone the best of luck, Kakashi responded, and to make sure all three of you would be here, otherwise, I would have to make you three turn back. What, why? Sakura inquired. Kakashi responded, well, it's because the Chunin exams are a team event, and motioned for them to enter. Good luck to all three of you. I won't be of any assistance from now on, Kakashi declared as he departed in a cloud of smoke. Yo guys, it's RyugaXD. You already know YouTube has its limit size, so if you want to see the spicier, uncensored, and exclusive stuff I can't post here, check out my Patreon. That's where I drop all my 18+ lemon content, early uploads, and more. Links in the description. Come join the fun.